Welcome everybody to How to Trade, formerly known as the Midday Show. That's your boy Joey Options. I'm Sharif, and sorry we couldn't do the regular introduction for obvious reasons. I don't think it would have been appropriate, but we're very excited to have you guys on a day where the market is certainly moving. Joe, we're going to have a look and shout some people out as they join us from the other stream. We already have a couple of the OGs joining us in the chat. Shout out to Mr. Two Pamps, Darwin in the chat, Botrix and Naps joining us as well. The OG Zion Lala and the small cap gapper trader extraordinaire Scott H, as well as Yannick, Gorav, Juan. We got Hey Davis. Brian Thompson's made the trip. Vic Yan Novak and Sir MRM. Stock up. We got Pitchbull, Fiddlebeck joining us as well as Adrian Petraeus. Shout out to Benton, COIG, baby. It's been tough being an Arsenal fan, just like it's been tough being a Cowboys fan. We got Mary S. Lyman and other Zinc. Brendan and Kendall Lopez joining us as well. Eric Chen and Donkey Trader. We got Christopher Wagner. We got the world's best mod, baby. Bears versus Bulls. Idris, Oscarito, Ed George, Leroy Brown, The Piper, Nick M, Chatan 47, and Drops Trade. I don't know.
Drops.
Do you not hold the trades? Are you kind of like me, where you're paper handing things most of the time? Or
We're working on grip strength.
Shout out to KZ and Seth. Who else we got there? We got Fiona Smart. We got Pro Trader Key and Sweeping LNH. Shout out to Sunday Blessed as well. Thanks for everybody for joining us. How was your weekend, homie?
Oh, it was a great weekend. Nice and relaxed. Got some work done. And you know what? I downloaded some video games because I caught some heat last week.
Why?
I'm not gaming. Yeah, well, I don't know. There's this game Rocket Lab or whatever the boys were talking about, Rocket League and stuff
League,
like that. See, so it shows you how much I know already, and I'm telling you I've downloaded them. But I downloaded some Call of Duty, and that's it, yeah. And just ran some due diligence and ran some replay, and that's it, brother. So how about you? How was your weekend?
It was fantastic, man.
Nice.
Took obviously Thursday and Friday off. Needed to shut the brain down, just get some R&R, and you know how that kind of thing is. Like hit the gym,
zone out, and hit the gym.
Been doing deuces a day.
Oh,
yes,
wow,
deuces a day. So it's been nice and
days,
nice and
eh?
interesting there. All right, Joe. Here's the deal. We're already involved in BTDR. Shout out to Adara for bringing this to my attention. Small cap gapper that I believe is crypto related, if I'm not mistaken. BTDR. Just give you some information on this one. Yeah, what are they? They're in mining. Okay, so good look there. We already wet our beak there for a 10-penny winner, setting up at 15s. Super quick. I like the support resistance flip on this one, Joe. I was telling you this off camera.
Yeah.
That 1090, 1085, but because we got so close to that 11, I had to weasel my way in super quick there at 11. But let me tell you guys, it's a bit volatile, okay? It's bumping up 10, 15 pennies, and it's dropping down 10, 15 pennies, despite the fact that the spread is about 2 pennies right now. It is quite volatile, at least from what I've been seeing the last 15, 20 minutes or so. We got a lesson lined up on earnings. Anything you want to jump into before we weasel?
We're going to touch a little bit on what's leading the overall markets today. So for all my race fans, we got a win play show. We'll go through the first top 3 here. We got the consumer discretionary led by Tesla, then the financial sector, and then industrials. And then we'll go from the bottom up. So in last place, the winner is the tech sector. And second last, we have health, and then materials in third last, guys. So that's that look there. And then we all know that Bitcoin is having an absolute fantastic day and absolutely fantastic weekend. So those are your top sector performances for the first half of the session.
Sounds good, brother. All right, let's get right into that lesson. Well, I think this is one of, if not the last lesson we're going to do on earnings. I think it's still appropriate since we're, still in the midst of earnings season. So let's get right to it. Today, we're going to talk about identifying institutional buying and selling post that earnings report. In other words, we're going to, touch on Wyckoff's accumulation and distribution, and I think we all remember that from the lesson. So understanding the flow of institutional money post-earnings can provide you significant insights into the stock's future direction by identifying whether large institutions are accumulating or distributing shares at a particular area, traders can make more informed trading decisions. So let's just start, as we always do, with some of the basics here. The role of institutions, especially or as it pertains to the market impact or their impact on the market. Institutional investors like these hedge funds, sovereign wealth funds, pension funds, you can go on about the different types of funds, mutual funds. They often trade in large volumes, which can significantly impact a stock's price. But they also have more of a long-term perspective than you or I or some other traders on the floor here may have. So they typically like long-term investment horizons compared to retail traders, making their actions more indicative of the underlying market trends or what will likely subsist. Okay, so one of the ways we can basically identify whether it's institutional buying or selling using technical indicators is volume analysis. So what we're looking for here is unusually high volume. So a sudden surge, for example, in trading volume after an earnings report can signal institutional buying or selling pressure. And then there's also the issue of volume distribution. Analyzing how volume is distributed throughout the trading day can provide clues. For example, heavy volumes in the early morning hours might indicate institutional accumulation. So here's where I want to stop for a second. So oftentimes you hear the Katina man before the bell rings, and Neil sometimes, they talk about the order imbalances. Why are they looking at the order imbalances? They want to see what kind of market orders, not market orders, that's the wrong word to use. What kind of orders have been placed into the market for a particular name before the bell rings? So we all know about the New York book, the NYB. We know that none of the prints on the New York book can fill prior to 9:30. So what we're looking for, what we're trying to gauge is whether institutions are trying to accumulate the stock, because usually they need big boy volume to get the shares that they want. And where do we usually get big boy volume? Right at the open and right at the close. So you're oftentimes going to see accumulation and distribution during those two times. So that's kind of, basic stuff. We all know that. What I wanted to bring your attention to is midday, when you see the 5 or 10 green candles in a row on the 5-minute or the 15 or whatever you're looking, that's a buy program, and that's usually institutional accumulation or distribution. So it's not a hard and fast rule that they're only buying at the open and only buying at the close. Sometimes they are weaseling their way midday, but it's a bit, I don't want to say tougher to see, because you can kind of see it, obviously, when there's uninterrupted green candles to the high side or low side, or red candles to the low side. So that's what I want to bring your attention to. The volume analysis, most prevalent at the open, and I have to pause here because I'm printing up a multiple storm. Woo! Okay, thank you. We're going to take out some more up in this place over here. Nice 30 pennies in the money or 25 pennies in the money or so. Let's let that one cook. Okay? So we're done with volume analysis. How about price action and volume? So accumulation pattern. So a gradual price increase accompanied by increasing volume should suggest to you potential institutional buying, in the same way that the distribution pattern will signal to you institutional selling. This is where you're going to see declining prices with increasing volume, which is obviously, again, indicating the opposite. And this is Wyckoff's accumulation and distribution chart. We did an entire week on this. Maybe we'll do one in the near future. But this is kind of the accumulation phase where we have a sideways move. We're stuck within a range. Whoa, this is going here, Joe. I need to interrupt again.
No worries,
oh,
man.
baby.
Go
BTDR. Shout out to Adara for telling me about this one, man. The human algo doing the absolute most. We're going to set up some more. We're going to set up some more orders here, Joe. We're going to put it on the north side of 40. Oh.
Man, the people love the money storm in the chat. I love it. It's a big one, man. The dollar club.
The Katina man is long 50s again. On?
Tesla
I'm kidding, Katina man. Yes, the 50s breaking on the Cybertruck Tesla. You want to cover that super quick, Joe? Or are you good?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, keep going,
good.
man.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just having fun with you guys.
Right, so this is the accumulation area, RAM, where we kind of get this sideways movement locked within a trading range. Yeah, whatever the range is, $5, $10. It seems to be locked into that area. And then sometimes you have a breakaway gap. You don't always have to have a breakaway gap, but one of the ways to look through the break or to find out whether accumulation is done institutional level accumulation and whether we're going to trend with more retail participation is to look for a gap up, a breakaway gap, an initiation gap, sometimes they're called, through the break of the accumulation range. Same thing happens with distribution, just the contrapositive. So you're looking for that accumulation, increasing volume, then perhaps a breakdown gap through that key area of technical support, okay? Price gaps, as we just kind of mentioned, large gaps up or down on high volume can sometimes signal, I should say, institutional accumulation or distribution, specifically breakaway gaps. And that's kind of what I want to stress to you guys right there. We're locked in this accumulation phase, and all of a sudden, either an earnings report, something macroeconomic, something specific to the sector, or whatever, something comes in, it's positive, and it shoots up just like this. For our purposes, obviously, we're looking at it from the earnings perspective. So usually it is earnings that's sending this bad boy a lot higher. Moving average, also very important here as well. A stock crossing above its long-term moving average with increasing volume can be a bullish sign, potentially indicating institutional buying. That 50 period moving average, whether you're using exponential or simple, that 200 exponential or simple moving average, very important to see where the price of the name you're looking at is on the daily as well as the weekly. Okay, so I would submit to you, and some people even go back as far as a monthly. I look at the daily and weekly for the most part, look to see where the price is relative to the 50 and the 200 on both those time frames. Options flows. I don't want to wax poetic with Joey Options next to me over here, but unusual options volume, another key indicator, a sudden and unexpected surge in options volume, especially out of the money options, especially out of those money options, can indicate large institutional positions. But then there's also the issue of protective puts, which is a significant increase in put buying by large institutional investors, which can signal to you a hedging strategy or even the potential bearish sentiment amongst bigger money participants. So you need to be on the lookout for that. Conversely, call buying, the exact same thing as we just talked about there. A substantial increase in call buying can indicate bullish sentiment and a potential accumulation phase. And there you go, unusual options activity, contracts in the thousands. Oh baby, 330 came, and then everybody started buying there. So it kind of figures with what we were talking about looking for accumulation and distribution by large institutions at the open and at the close. There's also the issue of the short interest, very important as well. Short covering. A rapid decline in a short interest for a name after positive earnings report can suggest institutional buying to cover those short positions. Now, I'm going to submit to you here an important point. The short data that we typically get is about 2 weeks or so old. So this kind of strategy about looking at the short positions to detect institutional buying or selling, it's going to be a bit delayed. So you need to look at it from that lens as well. And there's also the issue of the increased short interest, kind of the opposite, with a decreasing short interest with people covering. So this is essentially a significant increase in the short interest following a negative earnings report might indicate institutional bearishness, excuse me. And this is kind of like the idea of gauging the short interest on a name using a graph. This is just an example I wanted to show you guys, obviously. You're going to have to pay for this type of data, though. From my experience, if you really want to get accurate short interest, it's usually a pay type situation. And last but not least, 13F filings. What is this? This is essentially review quarterly filings by institutional investors to identify their holdings and potential trading activity. We all know Nancy Pelosi, the best trader on earth. You know, keep your eye on what she's doing. No, I'm kidding, of course, but the whole point is, look at Tina Man said, she's printed up a storm, not arguing with that. Just keep your eye on what some of these other larger players are doing in the market by reviewing their 13F filings. And here's an example, as we just joke, obviously, with a 13F. They're showing, you know, exactly what they're holding when they sold it, how much they're holding, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And some cautions and final considerations here, Joe. False signals are an ever-present danger. It's essential to consider other factors such as market trends, economic indicators, company-specific news, all while interpreting what you perceive to be as institutional buying and selling. And then there's also as I mentioned, the delayed reporting, especially of that short interest. The 13Fs as well, they're going to be delayed. They're going to come out once a quarter. So you can't rely on them for very quick, actionable market decisions. And last but not least, Ram, market manipulation. You got to be ready for this. It's real. It's present, and you need to account for it. So beware of the potential for market manipulation through fake volume, for example, or misleading order flow. I hope everybody prints up multiple storms, Joe.
Yeah, beautiful stuff as always, Sharif. We like just talking earnings because we get it 4 times a year. So
yes, sir.
It's very important to kind of get a fundamental understanding of why things move and what is moving. But as of right now, I'm just looking at some AMD. I'm going to pull up the chart on AMD here real quick because I want to point something out on it from a volume standpoint and what I would classify as a genuine move. And we're going to talk about it this week when we correlate volume and price analysis, right? So this is exactly what I'm looking at. As this stock is breaking out, what is happening from a volume by time standpoint? The volume is increasing. This is something that we want to be able to identify, and then we can classify this as a genuine move. Another point that I want to put out there is that as we decline, as we have this pullback, you can see the volume dwindle on an average standpoint compared to what the breakout volume was. Now, I'm looking to add here, I'm a little bit late. We do have a hammer doji here, but this is something that I'm looking to play that is just trading above VWAP, especially when we have dwindling volume. So keep that in mind, guys. When you have strong moving stocks and you can identify pullbacks through weaker volume, this can give us a little more conviction in the trade to say, hey, maybe we're going to continue to the northeast and this is just a pullback, so let me see if I can start a position there. I'm going to start something really small. I thought I punched in, but apparently I didn't. But we're going to start small. And if I have to cut the position, that's fine, because you know me, I like to have these really close to VWAP, and it's not so much right now. But that's fine. I don't mind taking a small loss on this just to test the waters to see if we can continue and take that second leg higher and possibly go and test the higher days. But something that I also want to point out here, guys, as well, and we were talking about this for a while, and I know Adara had her eyes on it, but I've been watching this stock for a long time, and you guys know that I like to play gaps. All right, so I was talking to Sharif off the side, and I said, okay, I started a position in this, and then eventually my thesis played out exactly how I thought it was going to. So I'm looking to play the gap fill. Our good friend Greg B would classify it as a soft gap fill, or whatever you want to classify it as or call it, but I entered this trade at the breach of the gap, right? Boom, simple, and then I exit at the low of the gap down session. So these are just little nuanced trades that I'm looking to put on, and you can see it's a pretty nice trade from 316 to 336s on that. So I also have something else that I was talking to Sharif off camera about as well too, is General Electric. So these guys just, they made a deal with a Royal Jordanian order for a Gen X 1B engine for their Boeing 787. So they put a lot into that. So looking for this to continue, and it's just a simplistic trade, right? Like I'm just looking to play this gap fill in GE. I'm not looking for any extension. This is strictly a technical trade thesis that I've been working on for a very long time, and then just starting to take advantage of those there, guys. All right, so that's my look on GE and CrowdStrike as well. But I'm still sitting here in AMD, and we're going to see what's going on. I told you I'm not going to give it too much leeway. I don't have much tolerance for this stock. As you know, in the past, we tried to build the same thesis with something else, but we're gonna hold on and see, because I do think that we're gonna be able to put some momentum, and then we can start gaining some ground and get off these previous lows. But we're gonna talk more about IBIT and AMD right after we get back from Adara.
Beware of Roblox here, up about 4.5%. This name does have a 6.2% short float. I'm seeing some comments circulating on social media suggesting that Roblox could be having this partnership with Mr. Beast, who's a very well-known social media creator and one of the biggest creators on YouTube. It's worth noting, though, that the actual post starting the speculation came out on Friday, November 8th. So not a new post, but it's being circulated right now on social media. Keep an eye on RBLX, guys.
Yep. Yeah.
I gotta remind everybody, Joe, to vote. Otherwise, the afternoon segment means nothing without you guys. There's a lot moving today. I will not be convinced otherwise. So get into the chat. Let the OB, he is the one, Kenob, see what you want him to analyze. The Katina man, he's going to hit the gym now, and he's going to be back ready, refreshed to look at the tickers as decided by you. So get into the chat. Tesla's up 10%. I wet my beak on some Tesla profits the other day, Joe. More like this morning in the pre-market. I had to, dude. You have to take some out, man. You have to, the Katina man said. Like, I mean, you have to. So get into the chat. Vote for Tesla. Vote for IBIT, which I also started a position on Thursday.
Let's go.
I'm a little late, Joe.
No,
but it's okay.
No, sorry to interrupt you on that for a
man.
sec. So I'm not trying to sell this to anybody, but I was talking to my friends. You have that group chat. And I said, so there's about 32 halving cycles on Bitcoin. We're on number 3. So are you late?
No, I don't.
You know what I mean? On the grand scheme of
There's
things.
so many ways to look at this.
Exactly.
Measured move. The NOS boss called it on the show. He called it 320 top, Joe.
Yeah.
So,
on this cycle, you know what I know? But seriously though, but it's like,
though,
are you late? Like, the last Bitcoin halving is 116 years from now. We're gonna be long gone. Yeah, dude. 116 years is when. No, is when it's the final one. The final one. It's every 4 years. 2028 is the next one, right? So every 4 years we have the halving cycle, but the final one is 116 years from now when the last Bitcoin is going to be mined.
We're not late.
No,
we're not late.
No,
you feel late.
You feel it, right? You're watching this thing, right?
If your thing was, oh, I should have bought it at 50. Okay, sure, you were late. But imagine how late you'd be buying at 250 when it was 50. So I'm in. I'm not even thinking about it anymore. It's all over. We're just leaving that as it is, Joe. All right, there's some stuff here running, and it's running without me because I took out the entire position not knowing. Yes, again, BTDR going, guys, 1160. We took out the final little bit. Come on, at 40s, give me a break. This one is really going. Let me tell you, it's a 2-penny spread. It looks awfully good. It's very, respectful of these levels. The reason I got in over here at 11, I like the support resistance flip. I was gauging a 1090 resistance, given the consolidation area in this initial bull flag, and then we whiffled and waffled consolidatively over here. So I said, this is good. I can manage risk well with this area. Got in, and obviously, story is that I took it out too early. So we're going to be looking to do a little bit better over here. There's some other stuff moving, Joe, so let's talk about these ones. LMND, really good one. Lemonade, really running up over here. This was south of 30. Where did we close out? 28.50 on Friday, and now we're up 34.50 generally HOD. Right now, coming a little bit off that level, though. Let's pull up LMND on the watch list over here so we can get updates. Yeah, we're holding the 10 exponential. We haven't been able to breach the 10 exponential since the opening bell, 9:30. It has not closed below it. It just got a quick dip off that 10 EMA on LMND right at 33.90, and it's already 30 pennies above that, printing 34.21. So I'm very interested in this one. Let's keep an eye out on that. I'm also interested in AMPX, and let me tell you though, the volume on this is dropping and it's already low to begin with. So I don't want to be quick to jump in. I'm much more rather take AMPX at VWAP in and around 205, 206. I don't want to pick it up off the 10 exponential when the volume's dropping in this way. Not my look. But this one looks really good. And this one's just dying for a flat top break, Joe. Look at this. We got a whole bunch of selling at 178 to 180. And more recently, we've been unable to take 178. On the other side of that coin, you might think that's bearish. But what's keeping me bullish about CAN is the umpteen of higher lows that is putting in. So we're looking, well, I don't have an animation for it, but I'm looking for a flat top break. I likely will weasel into this. Adara's got, I'm not.
Yeah, you're not.
I didn't punch in.
You're not tapped in, baby. You're not tapped.
My bad. I was secretly trying to ignore Ram.
Whoa, Ram.
Yes, get it, Adara.
You said you deserve a little.
Sorry, guys.
As we usually do here every day around 11:20, what we're going to do is take a look at the larger movers to the upside and the downside on the S&P 500. As always, if these or any other tickers are on your mind, make sure you get in the chat and vote. Exclamation point join, space, $, and the ticker of your choice. This happens every day during the midday. You have until 1:50 p.m. to vote. And then at 2 p.m., the top 5 tickers will be looked at during our rundown segment by Obi and Sean, with Sharif providing color commentary here on the green screen. I always like to have a theme for this segment, and so today's theme is going to be names that are making gaps up or down by over 10%. So big gaps up and down, and there are actually quite a few. We're going to start with some down gappers, starting with ABBV. This name is in that biotech space, down about 11% here. Their schizophrenia trial actually missed endpoints, and this was a $9 billion trial. So big miss here for ABBV. Next up, we have MPWR. This one actually down by 20%, so faring even worse than ABBV. This is Monolithic Power Systems. They're in the tech space here in the S&P 500. Edgewater Research released some comments suggesting that due to Blackwell supply chain flow, MPWR might actually be losing some business from NVIDIA, so keep an eye on this one. And then last but not least, we actually have an upgapper here, BMY, Bristol Myers Squibb, up about 11% here with a bit of a bull flag look going on right now. Looks like this is a bit of an antipathy play with AbbVie with regards to its schizophrenia trial, because BMY actually does have an approved schizophrenia drug here with the FDA. So BMY, ABBV, and MPWR on watch. But if there's any other tickers you're looking at, remember to vote, exclamation point join, space, $, and whatever ticker you're looking at.
Very much for that Adara. Yeah, you got to be ready, Ram. Otherwise, you know.
And then you never know. But it was bang on.
She said that was very loud. So I told her she's got to be ready. Stay ready so you don't got to get ready, Ram.
Always be prepared. Always be prepared.
People always asking who Ram is. I find it hilarious because they don't know.
How do you not know the real superstar?
I know. She's the real star of the show.
She is the real star.
Really, there is no other star.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know, Sharif, but we got out of, I told you my tolerance on this one stock is absolutely low. That's AMD. So we got out of AMD. The semis are a little weak today on the session, Sharif. We have NVIDIA down about 1.5% on the day, and then now AMD about 0.75%, down about 0.75% there. But I do think that we do turn around again because we had a really strong drive. We recovered really nicely off of this opening range break on the 5 minutes. So if you're playing the 5 minute to the downside, then you get this doji right here, which we're going to be talking more about. Identifying these distinctive candles when we do volume price analysis, but it can give you these signals of when stocks and assets are potentially turning around. So if you're paying attention to this, you have AMD at an extreme low, and it prints this hammer doji, whatever you would like to call it, and then we have nice, strong, continuous momentum to the top side with that increase in volume. I do believe that AMD is going to turn around at some point just because on the higher time frames how much the volume is dwindling. Yes, we are continuously selling. NVDA is also weak, and so is some of the other tech stocks, but I do think we turn around at some point. Unless this volume on the higher time frame starts to pick up a little bit, I'm going to look for a turnaround, especially around VWAP, in this asset. So that's something I'm keeping an eye out. I'm not going to rush it. I'm going to let the trade come to me. I'm going to wait for those indecision prints at lows or below VWAP and for the stock to slowly start to turn around. So that's something I'm going to keep an eye out for. As I mentioned before, I do think we turn around at some point. IBIT is starting to pull back a little bit now, around $48.22, which is fine, because all that means, Sharif, is that I can grab a little bit more at a cheaper price instead of this thing absolutely just ripping to the top side. So we'll keep an eye on that. And on NVDA, we did break VWAP with a little bit of momentum gaining here. The volume, as you can see on the lower time frames, is picking up as we continue to sell. We did have this flat bottom break here that Sharif likes, so we had that, boom, absolutely, and right at VWAP too. So that's when you tend to see those, so keep an eye out on that. I have absolute faith. Like, you have Tesla ripping and a lot of other major tech stocks like Google ripping as well too. So keep in mind, it doesn't take much for this market to turn around, and I think at some point you will get buyers stepping in. You just have to be patient enough to sit on your hands and wait, because as you can see, the primary trend here is still to the downside, and we are kind of turtle shelling, curling over a little bit. But I think just due to the way the price action is printing, that we do turn around, and then we can potentially test some of this mid-range levels here around 147. But again, I could be totally wrong, so just pack your patience. Let the price tell you what's going on. Let volume tell you what's going on, and then you can make a trade based off of that. But Sharif, you know what?
Sir.
I had a shower thought, we were just talking about Google, how they have the antitrust and they want to be broken up. But I was like, okay, I'm like him. Let me see what do you know what the most watched YouTube video is?
Mr. Beast?
No, like a singular video, the most watched singular video.
Idea. Something
It's
about
Baby
Bitcoin?
Shark.
Oh.
Baby Shark. All right, and you know how many views Baby Shark has?
No idea.
15 billion.
Wow.
And there's 9 billion people. So yeah, exactly. So no, but my thought was, and I don't know, I could be wrong. It's just like if you have the ability to touch every person in the world twice with your product, then how can you ever be defeated? It's extremely intense, and that was just a thought. I know whoever created the song is obviously profiting substantially off that, but when you just have the ability to reach out to so many people, it's so hard when your ecosystem is that vast. It's so hard to be defeated and broken up. But other than that, was just my shower thought. I had to look up what the most value.
No, I mean that makes pure sense,
right? So it's just absolute dominance. Statistically, it's every person on the planet has watched Baby Shark twice, which is crazy.
Rem's trolling me already in the chat. She's like, Sharif's 10 billion of them. Apparently, I'm gold bullion up in here, right? Bullion.
So there you go. Yeah.
Ram.
The majority of the views came from Sharif.
Shark feels sick,
in
bro.
the gym, in the gym, pumping Baby Shark.
Can you imagine? That'd be the sickest workout song ever. Guys, I got back into BTDR. Idea is support resistance flip, kind of the same reason I got into it at 11 was it was a support resistance area flip. It's also the 10 exponential. I'm not going to give it that much room over here, so if it does break down and not hold this area, then we're gone. Zeno, we're also looking to scalp as well. So I'm looking at wetting my beak just below that 40 penny area. Let's see how this one does. It's a little spready, and the spread is starting to open up a little bit on BTDR, so keep your eye out on that. Separately, I'm involved in this name as well, CAN. I like the fact that it's got this flat top at 178, so smaller starter position here with the idea of dollar cost averaging into this. So I've already put my DCA orders out there as well as my beak wetters to de-risk if it does break down. So I'm going to keep my eye out on CAN as well as BTDR for the play. Now, AMPX, this one did break out a little bit, not break out, but it got back into highs. Now, the reason I'm not quick to get into this, despite the fact that it's putting in these higher lows, it's just because the volume is dropping off. Now, the volume is dropping off, but it's presenting me with a tradable pattern, which is what I see is an ascending wedge. It's got higher lows on every successive wick with essentially that 25 penny top, $2.25. So this could be, you know, a bull flag continuation. Look for that 225 break and take. I put an alert here for a VWAP dip. I kind of had a bias that this would dip into VWAP because the volume was so low, but that doesn't mean anything. We'll keep tabs on this one to see if it does that. We got Adara, though, at the big desk. What do you got, Adara?
This part of the show is brought to you by Firefly Neuroscience. Firefly Neuroscience has taken a bold step in advancing brain health technology. In collaboration with Bright Minds Biosciences, Firefly's innovative AI-powered platform has successfully analyzed data from a groundbreaking phase 1 clinical trial using advanced EEG technology to track brain activity. This data unlocks new potential in treating neurological and mental disorders, reinforcing Firefly's position at the forefront of brain health innovation. As they prepare for phase 2, this partnership signals exciting developments for the future of neuropsychiatric treatments. Firefly Neuroscience, shaping the future of brain health.
People are saying Clean Spark. Yo, this thing opened finally?
Yeah,
You didn't know that this thing was halted for days?
No, I
It
heard
was
someone say
halted
it was
for
halted.
days,
Wow.
dude. It opened at, I think, 10:15 or something like that. So Clean Spark is open, guys. Let me just see. It opened right at 10:15 a.m. Okay, and it gapped up. Well, not surprising, obviously, because, well, crypto's been flying. So good look there. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you.
No.
Yeah.
That's it. I think I finished my thought there on Google, and just, I mean, that the ecosystem it's there, so you can't. There's no denying it, and that's why they are one of the best companies on the planet, and I think will continue to be for the foreseeable future. Absolutely. So, no matter what, who wants to break them up or antitrust. Just the ability to touch that many people, even though it's like, okay, yeah, I get it. Not everybody watched Baby Shark, but a lot of people know. But yeah, but so it's like 15 point something billion views is absolutely insane. So we'll keep an eye on that. And guys, I'm here on AMD, and I think I'm gonna start a position again. I may be a little bit early to the dance, but I'm starting to like to see this indecision I'm seeing on the lower time frames, even though, oh, there we go. I was just confirmed not to take that because we are taking another leg down. So I'm just gonna pack my patience a little bit more on this one here because there's so much other strong things to be trading, like especially Tesla. I know Sharif and Sean were talking about it. Say, yeah, time. These guys are locking in some profits in the long term too. So it's like, yeah, maybe, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to just yet because I have a wicked average. And you know what, Sharif, earlier in the year, I trimmed some of my Tesla back when it was in the mid-100s, and I allocated that to Apple. And as of right now, looking like maybe it wasn't the best move.
What would you get in on Apple if you don't mind my asking?
Apple, I have a really good price on Apple.
So then you're good, bro.
Really, but as for a percentage gain, it's not even relatively close. So especially the period, like the past week run that Tesla has been on. But I mean, it's still the third largest holding in the long term. So so we're still happy about that. But again, it's just all about when you have these positions, like, oh, I wish they were just a little bit bigger. I wish they were a little bit bigger. But sometimes you just got to be happy with what you got. And luckily that your AMD's not the largest or third largest position. You know what I mean? I can't let it go. I can't let it go. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'll get over it eventually. But guys, we're just gonna go over kind of the top volume on the session. And leading the way is Tesla with 108 million shares traded on the day. Second place, we have NVIDIA with 96.8, and the show is Mara with 62.3. So we got the win, place, and show there. My friend, what are you cooking up, my brother?
We're printing, again, on BTDR over here. So a couple of prints. Where am I long? 13s, lucky number 13. Just took out some at 30s. Next, a step over here, looking out for 35s. We're printing 34s here on the ask, 30 on the bid. It's got to cross. So I'm going to pack my patience, see if that one wants to cross there. I wouldn't mind taking this into the high day. In fact, if this breaks and takes 1160, you're going to see me add. Now, you don't see me usually add on a breakout. That ain't my move. I'm usually a support and resistance trader, meaning that I like to for it to pull back into a predictable level where I think it'll hold up and then take it there. Bang! We take out more, Joe. So letting this bad boy run, let's put it up over here. And now we're going to put it in the high 40s to see if we can break and take that $0.50. Again, this breaks 60, which is essentially the high day. 1161 is the high day. I'm going to be adding on the breakout there. Now, this one. Oh, here we go. Wow, I might already get the fill. This thing moves, bro. Who's the stock think it is? Tesla? Calm down over there, bro. So we're printing 47s now here on the bid, and I'm waiting at, sorry, the ask. I'm waiting at 48. So we'll see if I get the print or not there. Now this one. Oh, geez. CAN. Where's my position now? 176 at this position, so I'm 5 pennies out of the money, but it just dipped off VWAP. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add here.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm adding here, and then if it dips below 165, I'm gone. I wanted to add at VWAP. Obviously, I wanted the break and take. Bob Curran in the chat. Shout out to Bob. He was letting me know that there's a wall of sellers. I think, Bob, you were saying something around 150,000. Correct me if I'm wrong. Obviously, I don't know if that's that big. It's 150,000 lots, not shares. I don't know if that's that big on a dollar a name. So we're going to give this one a try. It's breaking out. It's 35 pennies, 35%, excuse me, up on the day. If it wants to break below VWAP, I think that's my line in the sand. So we got 75 average now. Let's see if this one can weasel up or not. We'll find out awfully soon. Back to BTDR over here. Still waiting. High 40s. We'll find out if I got it or not when we get back from Adair at the big desk.
Let's take a look here at some earnings as part of our earnings segment. But before we do that, it's worth noting HPQ here up about almost 3.5%, nearing that $40 level, currently above 38. This volume candle here in the 15-minute showing about 1.5 million shares during this candle. We have a total of 3 million shares traded today, so about half the volume on the day in this one candle is HPQ gets to new high of days. I have not seen a catalyst on this yet. I will keep an eye out and let you know if anything changes, but it's worth noting there has been a bit of an uptick in social media interest since that volume spiked to the upside. Now, one earnings name on watch here is Shopify, SHOP, getting a nice move to the upside this morning despite a lack of catalyst, but they're reporting tomorrow morning, so it could be some enthusiasm here ahead of that report, expected at 7 a.m. tomorrow. Analysts here are looking for 37 cents per share in earnings and revenue of $2.11 billion. That would represent 23% year-over-year revenue growth. Now, what other names are going to be on watch for day one tomorrow? We have Grab Holdings and Live Nation, so GRAB and LYV, both reporting after the close. But tomorrow morning is going to be a lot more exciting. Not only do we have Shopify, we also have On Holdings, ONON. We have Plug Power. We have C Limited, SE, that is an ADR that tends to get a lot of traction, and Home Depot, HT. So lots of tickers to keep an eye on for tomorrow's report. If these or any other tickers are on your mind and you want to know what Sean and Opie have to say about them, get in the chat and vote. Exclamation point join, space, $, and your ticker of choice, guys.
250 bounce. We were just at 350. See, I'm still living in last.
That's literally last week's. That's last week's price. Man.
I saw everybody yelling in the chat. The bone broth. Shout out to you, man, because that was a good call out by you. 250. Bump and pop on TSLA, and I didn't want to trade this because it was kind of expensive. Joseph bringing up a solid point. Trade TSLL. You don't want to stomach the price and the movement of TSLA. You're going to look at TSLL or any the umpteen amount of derivatives. This is what I'm looking at, Joe. I think this is a good look right here. You get that ram. You get that 350 drop. Initially, we were using 350 as resistance. Now we're getting 350 as possible support. It's also the 20 exponential. VWAP a little south around 347. I'm going to wait, as my friend Neil likes to say right now, to get this on the back end. So prove to me that 350 is a real deal, and you're going to bounce. If that means getting a crappier price, that means getting a crappier price, Joe. We're going to pack our patience.
Yeah, absolutely. Odyssey Flights, I see what you wrote in the chat. Can you explain options-based ETF stocks like AMZY and NVDY? Yeah, actually just looking into those a little bit now. And I know that there's synthetic covered call strategies will purchase and sell combination of exchange traded and flex call and put options contracts based on the value of the price returns of NVDA. I'm gonna have to do a little bit more research on these because I'm familiar with them, but as per like a peer explanation, I'll have to do some more due diligence so I can explain them to you a little bit more outright. But I think it's a fund just based off the profits of covered calls and covered puts as well. So I want to get a little bit more into that. Maybe we'll touch on it a little bit more later as well too. And then Starbeast pulling a Kathy Wood. Joe pulling a Kathy Wood move. Yeah, on the Tesla, absolutely, because I'm pretty sure she sold a bunch of Palantir last week too. Me and my good buddy Greg V were talking about it. She sold Palantir and picked up AMD, which I can't really criticize her because she's Kathy Wood. But at the end of the day, it's like, what? Okay, I don't really understand that. But again, I don't need to understand it because she's successful and she obviously knows what she's doing. But one thing she also did was I'm pretty sure she sold NVDA at the bottom, which was absolutely brutal, a bad play by her. And then the thing just absolutely continued to rip. And I know Scott Wapner, we talked about this before. Scott Wapner was making fun of Steve Weiss for picking up NVDA at like 400, and then it went and traded up to like 1,100 bucks. So I don't know. Those guys are getting the last laugh. We're here in AMD, guys. I don't know if we found a bottom yet, but I told you I like the dwindling volume and how the price action is becoming indecisive. So with that, I'm looking for a move and a little bit of a pullback. The semis are weak, but I'm not trying to milk a stone here and try to get something out of. If it doesn't want to work, there's so many other hot stocks like Tesla, and we can use the vehicle TSLL. And then we also have IBIT too, which is also absolutely just been on a soar with the underlying asset Bitcoin. So there's other things that I can be trading and not trying to milk a stone here with AMD, because you guys know where I stand on this position and on this stock. So that's something to keep in mind. And I think as you gain more experience in trading, you'll learn it's like don't fight things because the market will do what it wants to do. Just join with what's hot. You have earnings. We're talking about earnings. If things have great reports and the stocks are moving in the direction, then the chances are you'll increase your chances of profitability if you do just decide to join with them and not try to come up with a thesis that you think you're going to outsmart the market, because you will not at all right, guys? So just keep that in mind. We don't got much more leeway in this trade on AMD, and then we're going to cut it. And then I don't think I'm going to try to pick the bottom on this thing anymore until, as Sharif just touched on, until you prove to me that we're ready to continue on that northeast trajectory and see if we can become a long on the session. We are negative on the day, which is unfortunate, and same with NVDA, down about 1.5, 1.6%, and then now AMD catching up to its peer at negative 1.3% on the session. So guys, I'm gonna give this till 145.60s, and then after that, I'm done. Maybe I'll take one more stab on it, but that's it. We pulled back too much of this move already. I did like the dwindling volume, but we are not holding this secondary trend, so that's something to keep an eye out. We did form consistently higher lows, but then again, this pullback is a little bit too deep for my liking, so that's something I'll keep an eye out on.
Fair. So I got stopped out quickly. I took some profits here on TSLL. This was the idea of taking that 250 bump and pop, but it showed me a couple of green candles, fooled me, got in, so I got stopped out for 15 penny loss on the remaining amount. So look to do a little bit better. So the next level I'm looking to set up at on TSLA, and again, I'm gonna have to get it to prove to me. Now I might have to wait a little bit longer for the proof to unfold this time at around 347 on the actual equity name itself. 346.98 is where I see the volume weighted average price. Currently, we got a 4-candle red formation on the 5-minute chart on TSLA. With that, it didn't quite make it up to 360, 358.64. This is kind of how the chart is looking. So if you're looking for support and resistance to hold, you might get it because the closing prints here are at around 348.75. That's where we're currently at. I was looking for a wick flip at the $50 level. I didn't get it. So I'm going to be waiting at this level over here, 347, to see if we can get a hold at the volume weighted average price. I won't be trading TSLA, likely be looking at TSLL or any other derivative I feel so inclined at looking at the time, but we're going to wait for a VWAP on the actual main name to see if it holds up there. So TSLA certainly in focus right now. Microsoft, very interesting look today on the soft one. So it had a bunch of, these bottoming tail candles, which shows buyer exuberance. I mean, it's not breaking out by any means. 416 exactly low at day, 418.25 right now, looking to take the 10 exponential, but still not doing that quite yet. Interesting look on MSFT there. So we'll keep an eye on all these. Yeah, I'm not really that, enthralled with the Mag 7 today, saving except for Tesla. Google looks really good right now on the intraday look. So higher lows generally held VWAP. It did breach it by about 50 pennies or so. 179.50 was VWAP. This one weasel. Oh, what am I saying? It dropped it by like 20 pennies. So it breached VWAP by about 20 pennies. That's not that bad. Still off the high of the day at 180 and a fifth. So I'll pack my patience, see if we can weasel into any of these Mag 7 names. But I'm involved now in a couple of these small cap gappers. BTDR, we still have a position on this one. Not much. CAN, gotta hold VWAP, bro. Otherwise, you're gonzino. The out is already out. I mean, I've already posted, set my order for my stop loss on this one below 165, so it's going to have to hold that level, otherwise I want nothing. Pretty Panda, FOXO, testing the high of the day. You don't got to tell me twice. Let's have a look at FOXO. I'm going to bring in the side chart over here for you, and then we'll have a look at that FOXO. What is this? What is this? Okay, let me guess. Crypto, Foxo Technologies. What is this? Commercializing epigenetic biomarker. Okay, so not crypto at all. In any event, Ram 93.5 pennies a high of the day. Good look there. Now it's just finding its way onto my my scanner because it did take 85 pennies. I filter south of 85. So this is beautiful right now. There's a different trade to be had, obviously, with the $1. But what I would bring your attention to, Pretty Panda, look at that pre-market high at 96. Let's break and take that day. Oh, that's not pre-market. That's Friday's trading level, excuse me. Look at that break and take of that 96.59 pennies. Today, technically, we're still an inside day ensconced by the lows and the highs of Friday. Let's see if we can take out that level at 96. Be really interesting there. Good continuation on this name, though. Does it have a headline? Why is this thing jumping? But what is the name of this company? Foxo Technologies. Okay, did we have a catalyst on Friday? I'm not seeing anything. Okay, so maybe we'll check a little bit later. But FOXO, awfully interesting right now. Let's keep an eye on that. Let's also keep an eye on Tesla. So Tesla right now is at VWAP, guys. So we're looking at TSLL here. Again, I'm not going to punch into this super quick. I'm 0 for 1 on it right now, so I want proof that volume weighted average price is going to hold up. I will participate in this name. Good look for Tesla, up 8%, Joe.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. 2NY asked me to look at a sound from in the chat. Yeah, I'm liking the way this stock is moving as of right now. And one thing we're going to touch on when we correlate volume and price is that when we have these breakouts and you have these resistance zones being broken, you want to see that influx in volume, right? Because this could identify as a potentially genuine move, right? So that's something that can signal like, hey, there's a little bit more conviction within this trade because I have the volume backing my thesis. And that's something you really, really want to keep an eye out for, especially in the earlier days of trading when I was a breakout trader. And I'm like, oh, well, why isn't the stock moving? Why isn't like, I'm expecting it, we keep slamming into resistance or support. Why aren't I getting these breakouts that I'm looking for? And that could be because the volume wasn't backing the trade. So you need to look into these things. Soundhound AI, 2NY, I really like this from an options standpoint. I'll pull up the chain for you a little bit later, and I'll take a look at some open interest and see what's going on with it. But as of right now, you're looking pretty if you're in this on some options, and you've already had some and you have some in-the-money calls. I don't know if you have any positions open yet or anything like that, but as of right now with this breakout and the volume supporting that, I really like this look on Soundhound. So that's a good look there to NY. And you'll always get the nod from me when you have volume backing your thesis. And the price is somewhat orderly. You don't want to be in disorderly price action where everything's chopping around and candles are overlapping each other. That's nice orderly price action, something you want to look for on a daily standpoint, and that's a really good look. So I like that as well. And I know some people have Microsoft. I want to bring up Microsoft as well too, and that's why I'm working with Joe in the back in the algo room on a specific algo. Yeah, because I have a really, really high conviction in this thesis of gap fills, especially in high like high ranking stocks, like the top 50 of the S&P and the top 50 of the NAS 100, and because they tend to fill their gaps, and that's exactly what's happening here on Microsoft. The unfortunate thing is, though, I'm only human. I only have 2 sets of eyes, so to keep your eye on everything, Sharif, is a little bit hard. So that's why I want to set up this algo so that we can have trades executing when I'm not paying attention to it. I can input the stocks, etc. So I worked on some Pine script over the weekend as well, too, Sharif, to see where I can get this thing going, and then I can take it take it from there. But again, that's a good look there on Microsoft. You get a 10-point move, so you get the majority of this gap almost filled, and that's another percentage metric, right? So I think about like 60 to 65% of this gap has been filled in just a matter of a couple of sessions. You have the high 2 sessions later, so that's a 10-point move in Microsoft as well too. So that's a thesis and trade plans that I am currently working on with Jose in the back there. So yeah, so good look on him. And guys, we're still in this AMD. We didn't take too much size, but we're gonna look to add on this position, especially if we start to curl over here. I told you this pullback is a little bit deeper than what I would like, but that's a part of the market. Sometimes your thesis can be correct, but the timing is just slightly off. So you have to be really patient and let price action tell you what can potentially happen next. And that's why I think correlating volume and price is extremely important. Volume price analysis is what is keeping me in this stock. And why? I mentioned this before and I'll mention it again, but as you see, we have this appreciating stock with the volume increasing as well too. But then on the pullback, you can see the massive drop off in average volume. This is what's keeping me in this trade. If the volume were to be picking up, there's no way I'm going to try to catch a falling knife on this in this situation. But since volume is dwindling, then I'm going to look to hold this a little bit longer, and then I can add into this position to make it a little bit bigger. But Sharif, what are you cooking up there? Because I know you're killing it in BTDR.
I'm not. It's come right back into my entry,
okay,
Joe.
all
So
right.
we're not holding too much in the way left over here, but packing my patience to see if this one wants to give up the ghost at my entry. I've already put in my stop, so we'll watch to see if this one breaks down below 11. But yeah, big move up for BTDR, but an equally, I don't want to say an equally big move down. That's not fair. It's not even below VWAP, so calm down, bro. So we'll keep an eye out here. It's right at the 20 exponential. It's not like I want to use the moving averages for this specific name. I feel that there was good support at 11, so we'll see if there continues to be support at 11. But it's really kind of deviated away from that support resistance flip pattern that I got into it initially for. I got in at 11 because that was initial resistance, and then it showed me 11.25 was resistance, so I tried to get in there. It didn't hold up there, so we had to get in at 11.11, which ended up being a good area. But if it's going to break below that, that's fine. We'll let that one cook. Let's see what Tesla is doing. So Tesla's still, not really giving up the ghost at VWAP right now with these bottoming tail candles. It's below VWAP, no question about that. It's $1.20 below VWAP. So if this one wants to reclaim, I don't need to be first, but I need confirmation. Currently, I've got 5 uninterrupted red candles. The current one we're on right now, which has 5 minutes to close, so it's very nascent to say the least, is green, but I'm not going to put any stock into that. Show me a candle or two on the 5 for the long. Now, I need to be realistic, though. I need to understand what kind of time of the day I'm trading in right now, and I don't know if I'm going to get that big boy move in the same way that you would have got it off VWAP earlier in the day, like, say, 10:30 or something like that. Once it broke VWAP, kind of weaseled up into that 349 area, dipped down, held VWAP, then it took out the high of the day. So I don't know if we're going to get that during a less liquid time or a more illiquid time. I'll pack my patience, see if that Tesla sets up again. Now, CAN, respectful. I added again at 169 this time because it's still doing the VWAP dance. So despite the fact that there was a wall of sellers at $1.78, I do like the fact that we're holding up at the volume weighted average price for an attempt at that 180. Now, I've seen this in the past where I could wait until the end of the show. It's a 3-hour show before I print anywhere near that 180. That ends up being the case. That's fine. I don't mind doing that as long as I don't get stopped out. I can just let this manage itself by putting in beak wetters and putting in automatic stops. So we're gonna keep an eye on CAN. Hopefully it doesn't go to the can.
No, we don't want to go to the can. No, none of the can stuff.
Gotta set up a pun.
But I can tell you one thing I'm kicking in the can right now, and that's advanced micro devices. See you later. We're not trading you anymore. I told you I'm not going to try to milk a stone here, Sharif. The thing doesn't want to move just yet. We'll maybe take one more trade on it just because, right? But other than that, we're not going to milk. We're not going to try to milk a stone here, guys. We're out of that trade. We took another small loss. So we went 0 for 2 on AMD, which is totally fine, but because we kept those losses small, so now all it needs is one high conviction trade. We push a little size of it, and then we're going to be back positive on it on the session again. So guys, that's a good look there. I want to point out McDonald's as well too. I don't know if I talked about McDonald's earlier today. Adara, were you talking about McDonald's not too long ago as well too? Yeah, exactly. So if Adara is looking at it, I want to take a look at it too because she knows what she's looking at. But otherwise, guys, it's the same narrative. You know what I'm looking at here. We have a breach of the gap, and we're going to look to take advantage of this because this was the gap down when they found E. coli and I think the onions there. And then a couple days later, they just reissued the quarter pounder again too. So again, a minor thing. I guess people did get sick and somebody did die, but unfortunately, it's just not enough to totally dampen the stock. People are still going to go to McDonald's. People need to eat. So I'm looking for this thing to recover in the near future. We did kind of reject the gap a little bit right now, but that's totally fine because once it re-breaches, again, we're going to look to start another position on that one as well too there, guys. So I like that look there on McDonald's. So you guys know that I have multiple positions. One's closed recently with CrowdStrike and the gap fill thesis. We're building into GE now, and then we're going to look into McDonald's as well, too, for these swing plays. But as for sticking to what's hot, I'm going to get a little bit of a beak wetter here, Sharif, on IBIT because this thing is absolutely monstrous. And I think we're now at, well, not I think, I know we're now at all-time highs, 84,364. So So we're in absolute price discovery right now. And Sharif and I were talking off camera, our good buddy Tom Lee over at Fundstrat. He has a $250,000 price target on this thing. And I know a lot of people have high price targets for this halving cycle as well too. So we're gonna look to continue and join in this strength. There's so many strong things, and IBIT is absolutely, our Bitcoin is one of them, especially over the past couple of sessions, being up a significant amount and breaking those all-time highs with conviction. As I mentioned, you've seen the volume step in on the break of those highs. This is something that can give us more confirmation in the setup, and that's why I am so heavy in the position. I'm probably too overweight in it, but that's okay. When we're swinging the bat, Sharif, we're swinging hard and we're swinging for that grand slam. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, well, no, but seriously, because I have so much conviction within the trade and within the setup from a supply and demand standpoint, and just the cult, as Wayne would say, the cult-like action that Bitcoin has backing it. So,
and quite frankly, too, dude, like I told you, I was listening to a pod on the weekend, and well, not on the weekend, on my days off, and it really kind of. Nothing I didn't know, Joe. I guess we'll talk about it when I get back.
Bitcoin. When we get back.
There's the big desk.
We're going to take a look here at what's been happening so far during the midday session. And oddly enough, though we have a little bit more weakness in the indices, there's a lot of individual names that are really strong. We do have the Qs here slightly down in the day, S&P 500 outperforming them. That's in spite of a big move up for Tesla, which has given up some of its earlier gains. Still up, though, about 8% for TSLA, and actually did earlier today breach that $350 level as we have the continued Trump trade momentum. So keep an eye on names like DJT, RUM, and the entire crypto space here, too. We had crypto making new all-time highs throughout the day this morning. So lots of those types of names in play. But what about some of these other tickers? We talked a lot earlier today about some of those names gapping down, like ABBV on a failed schizophrenia trial. And also we had MPWR with some rumors that it may lose some business from NVIDIA. But there's some other names with non-catalyst related moves to the upside. During the midday, HPQ here up about 4%. No catalyst here that I could find. A short float here of about 4.5%. And then about a 3.5% short float on Zoom. ZM here up about 5.5% here. Near days highs here at $86. No catalyst for this, but getting a midday volume spike. So lots of individual strength today. Other names with strength include HIMS, CRM, and quite a few tickers here to keep an eye on as we end into the rest of the day. And it's worth noting, if there's any tickers you're looking at that you want Sean and Obi's opinions on at 2 p.m. during the rundown, you have until 1:50 p.m. to vote. Exclamation point join, space, $sign, and your ticker of choice. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Adara. While Adara was dropping said hot lines, I think Joe and I weaseled into this Tesla trade. I've scalped out a little bit already here. This was a 22 break and take ram. Now I'm looking for this one to run up. It has a doji, a candle of indecision. It's also a bottoming tail candle on the 5. Now you never want to put too much stock into what one measly 5-minute candle shows you. But hey, you got to put the odds on your side, and that's all we're doing here. So I've already de-risked a little bit to take advantage of the pump. I've got my next little out set at the third of $1.33. I'd like ideally to de-risk on TSLL as TSLA approaches that 350. Now I think we're still $2 off it. Let me tell you, not one penny of this trade is going to go against me. So if we dip below my entry, I'm going to flatten out and then get back in if I have to. So I don't want to get cut up on this trade because it's awfully volatile on the day. But this is a good look right now. Joe, how do you see this?
Yeah, no, it was the exact same thing when we were talking off camera. I was like, Sharif, look at this indecision candle right below VWAP. So that's something that we're going to touch on a little bit too, is just how to distinctly tell like where you are in price and at extremes or extreme highs or extreme lows, and how you can determine what that price action candle is telling you. And that would say, hey, potential turnaround. But the one thing I'm going to keep an eye on always, Sharif, is the volume. So the one thing that we will keep an eye out on is that we have this steady volume on Tesla to the downside, which is an average volume. So I'm still going to look to hold to see if we can hold 22s and VWAP here. And if we don't, that's fine. Then I'll get out of the trade and then be able to get another position. But as of right now, we did get the little pop. I didn't take any off because I do think that maybe we can continue to the top side and take that second leg. But even though Tesla is up quite a bit today, so I'm looking at the leveraged one. I'll pull up Tesla. We're still up about 10% or so on the session. Just about 8% on the session. So a 2-to-1 levered here on TSLL. So we're just sitting around 7.9 on the actual underlying asset. So yeah, Jay Lee, Doge went from 11 cents to 30. To 32 plus in a couple of days. Yeah, like me and the boys in the group chat were watching some Dogecoin too, because back in the day we had a massive position. It was like one of the first things that we bought as a collective unit and put all our money in. Sharif, it was a lot of fun we had there. And we bought it at like fractions of a cent, and then we rode it all the way up to like 72%.
I love it.
Yeah, I like 72 cents, and the group chat was absolutely going wild. But we had a lot of fun with that one. And then Tony Price says McDonald's is more of a real estate company than a food company.
Oh.
Joe, yeah, well, hey, I mean, sure, that I'll have to look into that, but
Yeah. Well, a lot of people say that about franchises.
yeah,
though,
franchise,
bro,
right?
Because-
Right.
Yeah.
It's all about location where you buy it and stuff. So yeah, I can definitely totally see that for sure. And Doge's new high of day, and I mean, just from a crypto aspect, and Adara will touch on it as well too, probably throughout the day. But Ethereum is it's up like 30% in the past couple of days, and only about 20% off its all-time highs, if I have those numbers correct. And it was lagging its peers, because everybody else was trading higher, and Ethereum was just kind of chopping around a little bit. But it's been on an absolute monster tear. So guys, look to join the strength with that. Don't go against it, because I know a couple of weeks ago, Sharif and I were just looking at some liquidations on Bitcoin and through the different brokers, and there was a lot of liquidations. So, I mean, a high, like hundreds of millions of dollars in that aspect. So guys, don't fight something that is breaking out like Bitcoin. If you want to play the fade, make sure you have a lot of conviction and stops in place, because you can just get absolutely torn up, and you don't want to blow up your account either in that aspect. So, but Sharif, what I'm really liking right now is that Tesla's holding VWAP as of right now. So again, if we decide to open up slightly below this range, then I know that my thesis is wrong. But until then, I'm just going to hold on a little bit, my friend.
Sounds good, man. We have the same price now, because I got out as the remaining portion of my entry came into my price, so I got stopped out, but getting back in as it showed me what I like. So that's what we'll see there, Ram. We'll look for that one to continue. Guys, the future though could looking actually kind of short right now, to be honest with you. The future is looking like a rounded top, a rejection off VWAP. So I am a little concerned, but Tesla is kind of marching to the beat of its own drum. What I'm seeing on the future is a symphony of lower highs and lower lows on the NQ December contract. So that has me a little bearish at the moment, but I think that that's probably more in line with, or more relevant, I should say, to some of these other Mag 7 names. I don't know if Tesla would be the one that is going to benefit the most from a downward move, or not benefit, but suffer the most from a downward move on the future. Right now, it seems to be kind of independently running. So we just got a print. There we go on TSLA. Now we're waiting at the $0.25. Let's see if we can weasel up into 25. Seller of note at 24. We'll see if this one can ascend above that level. Lots of volatility on TSLA as we continue to zig and zag here, as Joe said, at the volume weighted average price, which is, bullish in and of itself, that fact that it held the level. But we'll have to see if there's continuation. We're not putting all our eggs at the out of VWAP. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that, see if it can break and hold above the volume weighted average price. 25s, bang.
Bang.
Nice. So we're going to continue running a little bit more over here, Joe. Let's set up at 33s. We'll see if we can ascend a little bit more there on Tesla. A 3 green candle setup now on the 5, but let me tell you, they look quite indecisive as compared to the setups or the candles on the way down. Here we go. Now we're moving into 30s, Joe. 32 showing up on the bid.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's not bad look.
No.
We'll keep eyes on that one. Now, separately here, I got quite excited, I guess, when this one held 69s. I'm talking about CAN, and worked its way back up into 74s. I've layered my orders. This one's showing me 74s now on the bid. I'm looking for this one to hold VWAP and to test the high day. And the best part about this is we've got a flat top here. So if we take out that seller at the flat top, it could be, I don't want to say it's going to get parabolic, but you could definitely see some short squeezing take place above that, because it just hasn't broken. So you can make the assumption that if I want to get short, my stop would likely be a smidge above that 178 level on CAN. So we'll pack our patience to see if we get that. What are you looking at, Joe?
Yeah, I'm actually just having a thought in my mind, and I was going to ask you, I was like, I was looking at Walmart over the weekend, and that's just something, that a stock that I think is absolutely fantastic for your portfolio. But I was looking at the technicals on it, and it's like, where do you get in? Because you just buy the top here, right? Because there's like the pullbacks aren't deep on it; they're extremely shallow, and it just continues to appreciate just week over week, month over year. It's an absolutely fantastic stock. So I was doing some technical analysis on Walmart, and I'm like, man, where do I get into this for the long term? And I'm coming to the conclusion, it's just buy whatever price you can almost get, because this thing is absolutely phenomenal. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to pull it up for you here. I don't know why. There we go. And we're just going to take a look at it, because I'm like, hey, where do I get into this stock? Because all it does is just trade higher and higher and higher. So that's I'm waiting. I don't expect these gaps to be filled, because I think that's when it split. So for it to depreciate that much, I don't see that in Walmart, just because it's Costco and Walmart leading the consumer staples, and just something that is just absolutely mandatory to the way of life. And America loves Walmart. Canadians love Walmart. It's an absolutely fantastic North American company. I don't know if they're anywhere else in the planet, but
they're in Mexico.
Are they in Mexico? Yeah, they're in Mexico. Yeah, well, North America.
In England, they're technically there, but they go by a different name. I think it's Asda.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. So it's owned by Walmart. So there you go. Like, this thing is global. Where am I gonna get on this stock? At this point, it's just like, hey, buy this dollar cost average into it a little bit, build a position. So if you're looking to allocate X amount of money to it, divide that up by however many entries you would like to get, and just average into this stock, because it's just an absolutely phenomenal company, Sharif.
I agree, man. Let's have a look at it, because now you're piquing my interest over here at Walmart.
You know what I mean? So it's just like,
let's find out, dude, where we can weasel in.
Where do you get into this stock?
I personally would use a moving average. Just when it's trending like this, moving averages are cake. Moving averages are absolutely brutal when something's consolidating. But there's a lot of respect here, Joe, for the 20. Any dips into the 20s seem to have been bought up ever since the breakout there. This was the earnings August 15th, right? Because you can tell the volume bar there just yells earnings. And there's a zig and zag too. Usually that's earnings related. Yeah, the 20 exponential.
Or was that earnings or split? I thought that was split.
That was the split? The split's over here.
Split's over here.
That's February. Yeah. Good call though on that. I forgot that they actually split. But yeah, that's the move. I got stopped at a Tesla for the remaining amount there, as it did break below 22. So that's a lot of zig and zag with Tesla. I think that the meat of the move here is behind it, or it's to the short side. So I'm going to steer clear right now until this sets up a little bit differently. Ideally, something above 350. 350 is a bit of a line in the sand, despite the fact, obviously, we got into 358. So I don't want to get cut up on Tesla. It's occupying a lot of my attention and giving me very little in exchange for that. So I'm going to have to put this one on the do not trade list for now until it sets up a little bit differently. Oh, baby, CAN is breaking out. Boom, and we already got a couple of prints there. Now we're already moving back into that 178, Joe. So I'm happy the fact that I did have conviction adding at the volume weighted average price on CAN. It looks like it didn't go to the CAN quite yet. Maybe it does later. 178 showing up again here, and now we can get a full picture as to the amount of sides. There is big boy lottage waiting at that 178. Whether or not we take them out, an entirely different story. This is only what we can see on CAN. There could be a plethora of other orders hidden from view. Iceberg orders, sometimes they're called. And the point about that is we can't take account of them on the book. Where we can take account of them, or account for them, I should say, is on the tape. You can't bamboozle the tape. You can bamboozle the book, but you can't bamboozle the time and sales. All the orders, dark pool or otherwise, will print on this left side of the screen here. That's the yellow and the green and the red that you guys see on the left side of my screen. So I'm waiting for that print at 78, knowing full well that we likely will reject a few times before I get that print, but I'm happy with the fact that I did add at that area, so we'll see if this one wants to run up. Walmart has sold Asda in the UK, says Pegasus Business Sales. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. It's been a hot minute since I lived in Leicester. I lived in Leicester the late 2000s, early 2010s. And back then, Asda was kind of Walmart, and that's where we used to go. College students broke, you know what I mean? Like going there, racking up on energy drinks, anything we could get for cheap.
That was also Giant Tiger. You remember Giant Tiger?
Of course, they're still around.
They're not as
There's pumped about Giant Tiger.
I think they have them in Winnipeg. That's why maybe, I don't know.
Speaking of Giant Tiger, speaking of Adara, she's at the big desk.
This part of the show is brought to you by WorkSport. Introducing a new discovery on the NASDAQ. WorkSport, ticker WKSP. WorkSport is a U.S.-based manufacturer and rapidly expanding with growing revenues, government contracts, and innovative green energy products designed to power your life off-grid. Whether you're on the move or seeking sustainable energy solutions, WorkSport has you covered. Now trading on the NASDAQ under WKSP, discover the future of clean energy with WorkSport.
And they have the tonneau cover for the Rivian, so anybody with the R1T, you know, go on over. WorkSport got the tonneau cover for you guys. I don't know if you can step on that one and jump on it like you can on the Cybertruck. You'll have to find out. And if you do, let me know. I'd be interested to give them a good product review. All right, guys, let's have a look at the Mag 7 over here. As I said, I'm not going to touch Tesla until it breaks and takes Ram that $350 level, because it's been cutting me up a lot. On the trades at VWAP. I mean, it's really consolidated in a way that I didn't think it would at the volume weighted average price. So if it can get above that 350 level, holler at me, yell at me, let me know exactly that it's breaking above. In fact, I'm so interested in that 350 break and take, I'm going to put an alert for Tesla as it approaches that 350 level so that I can be made aware of that. Gaurav letting me know that the dead one, Apple, continues to bleed. Let me talk a little bit about this one. So Apple right now is in a position where it could be trouble. Why? Because of the tariffs. So now we need to be concerned about things or components that may be subject to the tariffs that are included in the Apple phone. Now, or in the Apple's products. Now, let me tell you this. Last time Donald Trump was at the helm, he got a call from Tim Cook, an unexpected call, an unsolicited call. The Cook man wanted to meet him and talk about what he perceived to be were, tariffs that could hold him back. And he got an exemption. So Donald Trump has shown his propensity to give exemptions to American companies. I don't want to say when warranted or when he's so inclined. So I am kind of in a wait and see position right now on Apple. I don't want to have to weather the storm with this monster dealing with the tariff situation and have to give back the gains. So I'm gonna, be watching it quite closely here to see, should I liquidate my position on Apple and funnel it into something else? It's by far guy's not biased at all.
Yeah, no, not at all.
I love it. So I'm watching here intently to see whether there are any news headlines that could affect this, whether Donald Trump makes any specific proclamations, pronouncements with respect to policy that could be beneficial or derogatory to Apple. So I know that they have been the weakest one, them and Meta, to respond to the Donald John Pump trade, right? Apple has not benefited. Meta hasn't benefited. Meta, I think, is a different reason because of censorship and that whole thing. I think he's got a bone to pick with them. We'll see. We'll see. But I am concerned about the Apple trade. I am, quite optimistic that the Donald does give them some sort of an exception. We'll have to wait and see how this all pans out. It's all super nascent and hard to tell exactly what's happening. So the future is dropping here, guys. So I was, I should have put my money where my mouth is, Ram, and took this short off the volume-weighted average price. It's putting in a rounded top. It's not even a top. It's a rounding pattern off the volume-weighted average price. It works right into VWAP, and then, like true to form, it's VWAP and the closing print from Friday. So 21,232 or thereabouts is where we closed on Friday. The VWAP is a little bit above that, so it's a double resistance whammy here for the futures now, down 0.25%. So we're going to pack our patience and see whether or not we can get any sort of trades on the Mag 7 here. But I've been really focused more on these small cap gappers. So we'll see if there's any trades to be hacked there. FOXO. So we're going to take off BCG now. BCG is no longer going to make my list. We're going to look at FOXO. FOXO looking awfully good here as it dances with that dollar area. Seems to be support at 90. So trading 91 right now, and that support at 90 is not all that surprising, given that that was a resistance level earlier that when we were working into that level. So a 90 dip trade here could be interesting for a $1 break and take on FOXO. And just realized I haven't been giving you any of the details with respect to these small cap gappers. So let's just start now. FOXO, $12.5 million market cap, a light 550 million shares traded on the day, and they've got a float of around 8.4 million shares. I negated to load up trade ideas, so I'll do that now to find out what the short float is, and I'll tell you guys in a hot second when it loads. Come on, trade ideas. All right, here it is. Let's find out what the short float, if any, on FOXO is so we can trade it appropriately. FOXO, yeah, not much, 0.42%, so a negligible short float there, nothing to write home about, but I still like the way that this one is setting up. So we're going to get into this one over here. Who are we going to take off? We're going to take off LMND because it's too expensive for me to trade today. So we're going to go FOXO on the NASDAQ. No, it's not on the NASDAQ. New York, not on that either. It's on the MX then, likely. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. FOXO on the MX. Let's load up that bad boy. What are you looking at, Joe?
Yeah, I'm just over here in IBIT, Sharif, and this is just what I always touch on, risk to reward. We took a couple of L's on, 2 L's on AMD, and then we took a small loss on TSLA as well, too, as it came back through VWAP. But that's the thing, I'm just sticking to trade theses and trade plans and then executing based off them. So I went 0 for 3 to start. But then when you put on trades like this, those can gain ground and help eliminate those losses. So that's my trade on IBIT here. I'm just trying to join the strength. We tried to test high a day and all-time highs, that is, as well, too. And we slightly failed to do so. So I took a little bit more, I wouldn't call this the backside of a secondary trend or a tertiary trend, but I took a little more off just in case we do decide to pull back a little bit and come test my break even, because I will cut the trade at that. But I do think we continue to crawl a little bit higher here on IBIT. And I know I've been trading it a lot, but there's a reason. It's because it's one of the stronger assets in the market. So that's why I'm just going to continue to keep my eye on something that is strong and just avoid what isn't. And that's why I said I'm going to take 2 trades on AMD. I'm not going to try to milk a stone and try to get something out of it when the potential or when the trade isn't there, right? So that's just something I'm keeping an eye on. And I was looking at Microsoft and Apple, Sharif, because I know you were talking about them. And just contemplating, I was like, hey, what am I going to do with this position I had? Because I remember you were saying, hey, this is the longest I've held an underlying asset, right? So, and it's like, okay, yeah, I totally see where you're getting at. Do we continue a little bit lower, or are we just chopping around a little bit here, accumulating some shares, and then maybe we continue another leg higher? I don't know, but again, there's the tariffs looming possibly, but it's an American company, it's a giant. And you know where I stand on those ones is it's so hard to beat those guys when you have so much money coming in. And especially when you have great analysts like Dan Ives and Tom Lee saying like, hey, this might be a super cycle for iPhone 16s, then hey, that's going to add a lot of revenue to the company. And they already have an outstanding ecosystem. So it's hard to beat, but lock in those gains, because I'm thinking about doing the same thing as well too, Sharif, because it is lagging its peers like Tesla and the other mega cap stocks. So that's something to keep an eye out, because if you can lock in some gains and then potentially get a better price, look to do that as well too. So that's something I might keep an eye on now that you mention it, because it is lagging. It's actually one of the smaller holdings in my long term, but it's lagging the rest of my holdings significantly. So it's like, okay, yeah, I'm in the money significantly. Do I lock in some gains and then look to allocate that capital somewhere else? Or do I just hold that cash and wait for a better price? So only time will tell. You just continue to do analysis. But I think eventually if Apple does decide it wants to sell off, it will pick up steam eventually, because these things don't need much to get them going, guys. So we'll continue to look at that. And I'm over here looking at IBIT. Let me know what you guys are looking at in the chat. We'll go over. I know someone mentioned something in the chat. I'm sorry that I missed it. So bring it back up, and then we'll go and we'll take a look. We went over SoundHound, and we went over a couple other stocks, but just let me know in the chat what you guys are looking at. We'll run some analysis on it. Let us know what positions or options positions you're looking to add. And yeah, I'll touch a little bit on just my gap thesis. And I used options from an AMD perspective, so I was extremely leveraged on that position. And what I told you guys before, and I'll mention it again, was that I was constrained by time. Time was not working in my favor when you're buying long options, and that's why that kind of trade thesis affected me and hurt me a little bit more than what I would do with just flat out equity. So just keep that in mind, guys, opposed to just flat out equities. You do have time constraints with options. So I see PayPal in the chat. A lot of people are trading PayPal.
Really?
So yeah, so let's take a look at PayPal. They're NYSE, I believe, yeah. Are they? No. They're NAS, yeah. Okay, so yeah, PayPal. And I remembered PayPal was in the dumps. I know they're coming out. I think I heard they're coming out with a stable coin or something along those lines, Sharif. So
really?
Yeah. So they're up about 5% on the day. So we'll keep an eye out on PayPal. It's a really good look, and it's breaking out. But one thing I don't like here is, guys, look at these candle prints. Look at the effort, and then look at the result look at the result in these prints, but look at the effort. The volume isn't there. So that's something that I would always keep an eye out on, is the effort and result and how these candles are formed and printed after the volume has settled. So just keep in mind that volume isn't sustaining that breakout. Even though I'm not a big hater of PayPal, I would like to see that volume step in there, my friend.
Yeah, it was an interesting look there on PayPal the other day when they reported. They had some good numbers. Users continue to grow. Some interesting stuff there on PayPal. All right, guys, let's have a look at the trades we're currently in. FOXO, we're at 90 pennies. We're out of the money by 2 as it's dipped into 88. So tougher look there. Keeping an eye on this one below 84. It's all over on this one. So we'll lose 6 pennies if this one does break down. So it didn't hold that initial resistance area. Now it's going to either stay above VWAP or I'm getting out of this one. So that is the look. CAN comes into 78, rejects again, but the fact that it ascended and held off VWAP, I like. I don't think I'm going to be adding into this again on the way down. I've added my position. I built my position, I should say. I won't be adding any more on CAN. So keep an eye out on that. Now, I'm interested in this coin long because apparently Coinbase is up 21%, and it's just bounced off the 10 exponential. So I'm very interested in getting in here. That's exactly what I'm going to do. Let's see if this one wants to hold above the 10 and then continue on its merry way to break that 328.79. So where are we long on coin, or we already dropped 20 pennies? Wow, that's just, we're taking CONL, which is a derivative of coin. I believe it is a 2 times derivative. Let me double check that for you guys. CONL. I don't even have it up.
Yeah, 2x.
It is 2x, eh? Okay. So I'm going to look to see if we can basically build a position into the 10 exponential. 68.50 is the next level that I'm looking at adding on. We'll pack our patience with this one, see if this one wants to go on, well, because it's up. 41.25% is CONL. But we're looking at COIN as the main one there.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's a bit of it's a mover, Joe. So we'll keep tabs on that. What else we got over here? So this one, FOXO, continuing to hold up above 86, but still definitely not at the level that I want to get it in at. So, or get it out at, excuse me. So pack our patience, looking for this one to retake 69 on CONL. I'm really interested in this one right into that 68.50 level. So I will be looking to add in and around there. BTC is fading a bit, so coin should start a short, says Jay Lee. Let's have a look at BTC. Yeah, so BTC is fading a little bit. It just rejected 85,000. It's down to 84,500, but it's still putting in a higher low, Jay. So we'll see if that trend wants to remain intact there. But yeah, good point. You always got to look at the actual asset itself. If you're going to trade coin, unless coin's got a specific catalyst itself for that's relevant to it and not to other areas of crypto, well then obviously you got to keep your eye on the main asset itself. So I'll keep on my eye on that one. What are you looking at, my man?
Yeah, so we got a super chat from Russell McQueen. He's saying, Elf, thank you for the $5 super chat, much appreciated. And while you were mentioning it in the chat, I didn't happen to miss it because of the amount of times that you said it. But anyways, we're just over here looking at Elf for you. And again, you're going to get the nod from me. I was just reading about what they kind of do, a multi-brand beauty company. The company offers inclusive, accessible, clean, vegan, and cruelty-free cosmetics and skincare products. The company's family of brands includes Elf Cosmetics, Elf Skin, and Naturum. Okay, so well, people in Keys, Soul Care. I mean, I like this. I like the look on Elf. It did put in this insane double top here around 222. and then it sold off drastically, especially when the pivot lows were broken. But now it seems to be recovered. I know nothing about this thing financially, but from a technical standpoint, you're going to get the nod from me. And why are you going to get the nod in this instance? Is because we're going to look at the basic metric of volume. You have this consolidation phase, whatever you want to call it, accumulation or accumulation down here, and then we have the break of the resistance. What happens when we break resistance? That volume steps in, and then the price continues to the northeast. So that's something that you want to look in at. As a breakout trader, you want to see this volume step in, because that's going to give you more conviction and confirmation within your trade. So I don't know if you have a position in it when you started one, but as of right now, it's not looking horrible because you do have volume backing your thesis, and that is extremely, extremely important, especially if you're a breakout trader. I mentioned to you this before in my earlier days, before even now it's the amount of screen time, but when you first start off trading and you're looking to play breakouts and you're building your playbooks, etc., that you need, and I'm looking for these trades to break out, but I'm like, why aren't I getting these breakouts? Why isn't the stock moving in my direction? Why do we keep running into overhead resistance and bouncing off floor support? Well, it's because the volume wasn't backing the thesis, all right? So that's something to keep in mind. And then you notice when you're on the right side of the V, or the volume, and the breakout is occurring and you're in this trade, it's like, okay, well, I have volume backing me as well too. So that's something extremely key important, because if you have just steady, if we can just pull up my chart here, because if we have steady volume without an influx of it, then it's like, okay, there's a reason why your stock isn't breaking out. There is no breakout volume. You don't have new participants coming in and breaking out the underlying asset from prior support and resistance, whether it be to the downside or to the top side. Just always keep in mind, if you're looking to play key break levels of resistance and support, look for that volume to step in, and that will give you a lot more conviction within your trading, all right? So that's something that, as experience, as time goes on and you gain that experience, then you'll notice, like, hey, I started my ELF position at 116. So yeah, congratulations, you're about 16 bucks in the money. So good luck there, and hopefully you manage that position really well as well. So yeah, good luck on ELF. I don't know too much about it. So yeah, I mean, there's so many stocks to talk about, and so many, and learning a lot from you guys as well too. It's like, I've never even heard of this company. What do they do? And then you gain somewhat of an interest in them. But guys, as of right now, just let me know what you're looking at. We're going to do some VPA lessons this Thursday, so that I think we're going to have a lot of fun with that. AMD finally able to flip around. Elon, yeah, I don't know, my friend. I know you had some puts on it that expired last week, but again, I mentioned this countless times. I'm not going to try to milk a stone, but we'll get back and we'll talk some more stock, Elon, right after we get back from Adara.
We're going to do our small cap recap now during the midday session, although we're actually going to be looking at mid cap stocks during this midday, fittingly enough. We have the IWM up here, up about 1.5%, so definitely stronger than what we saw about 2 hours ago, around 1020, bouncing nicely off that 240 level. So that's what's happening here for the Russell 2000. But what about some of these small to mid cap stocks? I'm going to start here with Joby Aviation, Joby. No catalyst on this one. They did report earnings last Wednesday. They missed on both EPS and sales, but up here about 17% with a market cap of around $4.7 billion and a short float here of around 19%. Then we have HIMS, much like Joby, they reported earnings last week as well. Definitely removed from day's highs, but still up about 17%. With a market cap of about $5.85 billion and a short float of around 18%. Last but not least, CLSK. This is the only one of these that has something of a catalyst. Clean Spark, you may remember, was halted for multiple days. That halt ended around 10:15 this morning. Nice push to the upside, likely in tandem with what we're seeing with a lot of these other crypto-related stocks. CLSK has a market cap around $4.2 billion and a short float of about 20.7%. So here are some of these heavily shorted mid-cap movers on the rise. If these are any other tickers that are on watch for you, make sure to vote for them in the chat. !join, space, $, and your ticker of choice. At 2 p.m., the top 5 tickers will be analyzed there by Obi and Sean. And Sharif will be providing his color commentary here on the green screen, guys.
Thank you very much for that, Adara. Yes, so CONL just pumped up again. We just took a bigger position here, scalped out a little bit, but it's coming right back into my entry. So looking for continuation on this name. There does seem to be some resistance at that $69 area on CONL. I'm keeping an eye on actual Bitcoin as it moves back up into about 84,750. Nice pop back off that $84,500 level. Bang! We just took that out through the quarter dollar, not the quarter dollar, what was that? Yeah, the quarter dollar. Not a bad look there. So now we're gonna set up at the third of a dollar on CONL, see if this one wants to ascend into those highs. But look at that, it drops 30 pennies like that, Joe. I mean, it's just, this one is awfully volatile. If you're not ready to stomach some of these moves, then just stay clear of this one. Let me tell you though, anything below 80, I'm just gonna take it out. I'm looking to scalp on this one and look to the high, or to continue to the high side. If it's gonna come down into my entry, I've already got red on it to begin with, so can't give back too much here. If it doesn't continue in, the upward direction, obviously gonna look to scalp that out. So CONL up 42%. Here we go, 15 showing up, 25s there we go. Let's see if we can get that 33 print, 29s now, bang! Again, we take that out. So nicely in the money on this one. I'm gonna let this one cook, Joe. Let's see if we can continue to ascend a little bit more.
Nice trades there, man. You have some on the Bitcoin thing too as well, and CoinL. So yeah,
bang.
Bang is right. Oh, I forgot to tell you, Sharif.
Yes, sir.
When Obi and I were on the show, I volunteered you for something.
Hey, say it again.
I volunteered you for something. And I was like, hang on, I don't know if I should be doing this, but I did it anyways.
What did you do?
So listen to this.
I don't know if I like this.
I know, exactly. But anyways, we'll talk more about what I volunteered Sharif for right after we get back from
Oh, boy.
Keep an eye on CMG, that is Chipotle Mexican Grill. You may recall in August, its former CEO, Brian Nickel, was announced that he would be the new CEO of Starbucks. And at that period, they had an interim CEO here, Scott Boatwright. Now the company, as of 5 minutes ago, has confirmed that Scott Boatwright is going to be its full-time chief executive officer. So moving from interim CEO to full-time CEO, he'll also be a member of the board. And he served as the company's COO, chief operating officer, since 2017. So Chipotle with an inside hire for CEO. Welcome Scott Boatwright to the CMG team, guys.
So yeah, Sharif, we'll finish on what I volunteered you for.
Oh boy.
So we were sitting around about 400 or 500 likes, and I said if we hit 1,000 likes, it's me versus you in a push-up competition.
Oh boy.
And not only did we surpass that, we hit 1,100 likes. But
wow.
Neil said, I don't want any of that smoke. And then I thought about it again, and I'm like, he's right. I don't want any of that smoke. So I don't know. The people gave us what we wanted, and unfortunately, you guys can't answer on that one because I told him. Neil's like, you don't want that smoke. You're like, you know what? I thought about it a little bit longer, and I'm like, I don't want any of that smoke.
Joe, hold on, bro. We're printing a storm here on CONL, man. We're almost $1 in the money.
Listen. Elon in the chat said, Joe, is AMD ready to take around? So I'm going to take my third swing, Elon, on AMD. Long. Okay,
AMD.
he's long. He's long AMD as well, too. Elon, I think I'm a little bit late to the dance here at 45.61s is where I would have liked to get in. But are we going to start to curl around now? We'll see. I entered my final trade on this stone milker of AMD. What do you got going on there?
I like how you volunteered me for
that's what I
this whole
say. Yeah,
thing,
but I
bro.
know, but that's the thing. I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do that. I thought about what I was getting myself into.
All right, let's talk
Neil
a little
confirmed
push-up.
about it.
Let's talk a little push-up.
All right,
What's your all-time best? I'm going to tell you what mine is, and I don't think I can do this anymore without training for it.
Yeah.
65.
Okay, I was going to say 60 is mine. Yeah, just like straight.
Unbroken,
60, yeah. 60 clean. I mean, we're going to touch the nose to the floor and fully extending the elbows. And then Neil's like, you don't want that smoke. Thought about it a little bit more. He's like, I'm like, he's right. Don't want that smoke. So
because I got him on the Sally up, Sally down challenge, so he still hasn't recovered.
But 1,100 likes. 1,100 likes on that one. We got Obi and I. But we're gonna go to Adara.
Yes.
And maybe we'll see if we can interpret that with trading.
Keep an eye on SAVE. That's Spirit Airlines here, up about 30% on no catalyst. It's worth noting that we do have a 34% short float for this one. Really small market cap too, $381.68 million. No catalyst, like I said, but could be a bit of a technical break. There's been some resistance here around that 320 level in a couple different time frames. As you can see here on the daily, we've had some higher highs and higher lows before this nice push to the upside for SAVE. Flying high right now, guys.
I was looking at that, and I think the Chilean Nightmare actually has a play on that options play, by the way. I'm assuming, bang, he's guessing. We're over $1 in the money now on CONL. I think the Chilean Nightmare is betting on Save actually being able to merge and being able to save their life. Big seller right now on 70 Ram. If we can show this, big boy seller on CONL, unable to ascend above 70, and there's not enough. There it is. Wow, go CONL. There it is. We're going to set up. Where are we going to set up, Joe? 15s. What's life without whimsy? Let's see if this one wants to continue to ascend into the top side. We got a couple of more, so I've got two more outs over here. If we can take this one out, there's a seller at 14. If we can take this 15s out over here, then I'll be one more out there. There we go. Boom. Wow. We take that out. Let's continue to pop up here on Coinbase. I'm trading CONL. It's a derivative of coin. I'm going to let this run, bro. We're $1.50 in the money on this Katina Man. The Katina Man has returned from the gym. He was very interested to find out where Bitcoin was trading. And let me tell you, he was astounded by the fact that it broke 85,000. I'm putting a lot of words in his mouth right now, but he's astounded. He confirmed it. All right. We are really pumping up here, Joe. This is a big move, bro. This is a big move here on CONL Coinbase. The actual product itself is up 22.25%, guys. This is a $330 name. It doesn't usually move like this. Shout out to the Chilean Nightmare, because did he? I told you. Yeah. The Chilean Nightmare is very excited. And he's got reason to be, Joe.
Yeah.
He's got reason to be. He's in Save. He's in Bitcoin. The dude chose well. Again,
he's diversified.
You're getting out of what, Fabian? All right, he's selling his position. Fabian, if I can say one thing to you, it's a great trade, brother, but the mergers and the deals are just starting. Just starting.
If I can say one thing, Fabian,
yes.
paper hands, buddy. Come on, hold on to those, babe. Hold on.
It's not just me now.
Uh-oh.
Felipe Lopez, the Chilean Nightmare, is the individual you just saw back there in the production cam. He's Chilean, so I call him the Chilean Nightmare. That's him pointing right at you, baby. Shout out to Fabian. His real name is Fabian, in case you're wondering. I know sometimes we're talking about Ram. We're talking about the Chilean Nightmare. There's all these other nicknames that I have for people. And so just ask us who we're talking about. We'd be more than willing to oblige you guys and let you know exactly what's going on. How you doing over there, Joe?
Yeah, we're good. I mean, I don't know. I honestly don't know what to say, Sharif, here. I just keep trying this stock, and it doesn't work out. So we're going to have to keep an eye out on AMD. I'm just not in sync with it, and that's totally fine, because what we are in sync with is IBIT, and I'm more than happy to be in sync with IBIT, opposed to advanced micro devices, who I just keep trying and don't seem to be getting in at the right times. But that is okay, because we are creeping in on all-time highs on Bitcoin and IBIT around 48, 41. But I do think that we can curl over a little bit and continue this trajectory to VWAP. Did we put in a potential bottom on AMD around 145.26? Possibly. Let's see if we can hold these lows. And I think if we hold these lows, we do have a chance to recover. As I mentioned before, and I'll mention again, the volume on the selling pressure is dwindling, so it is only a matter of time until maybe if a buy program steps in, and then we can continue that push higher and higher and higher. And Ellen, I know I'm in this with you too, so let's see what's going on with that. We'll take a gander at some of the megs. The Qs are now actually negative on the session, about 0.3% down today, but the SPY is still holding on positive, and I think a lot of that has to do with the financial sector. Last time I checked, the financial sector was in second place, so we'll take another look at XLF. It's still positive on the day, I want to find a percentage metric on this thing. So still up about 1.8% on the session, sitting in second place, which is absolutely fantastic. I like it when, as Sharif says it, Jeremy Diamond, oh, they're in first place now, up 1.7% on the day. Jeremy Diamond and the boys over at the American Financial District are leading the way, my guy.
And look, we got to talk about Goldman as well. You bring up a fantastic point, JPM. Obviously, they're the king of the bunch, no question about that. But Goldman, the Katina man, brought this point up earlier, talking about deal making. IPOs, well, you know, we got a couple of good IPOs in, I believe, this year. We got Birkenstock, we had Instacart, we had a bunch of others. They're not all coming to mind, obviously, at the moment. But Reddit, thank you for that. Obviously, that was a big one as well, and it's done really well since IPOing. But the point is, the the regulatory environment hasn't been conducive to IPOs, hasn't been conducive to mergers and acquisitions. That will change. How much it changes and who it changes for, that's kind of what left to be seen. Let's talk a little politics here. Let's call a spade a spade. J.D. Vance openly said that he agreed with some of Lina Khan's policies. He didn't agree with everything. He agreed with some of her policies. And if I can get a bit more nuanced, I think specifically as it relates to big tech, these the mega caps, the hyperscalers, if you want to call them that. So maybe they get dealt a bit of a blow while some of the smaller caps, or whatever, non-hyperscalers, non-mega caps, can continue, you know, possibly to merge, acquire their way into productivity, acquire their way into growth, which has been the model for many, many years. So we'll see, man. So many unanswered questions, but it's like hitting the reset button almost on a game that you've been playing with a bit of a different rule base. You know what I mean? Like the rules have changed a little bit, not entirely, obviously, but some new stuff. So I'm very excited, not just because we're getting a new incoming administration, but because it presents us with a different economic landscape and changes the game a little bit, and that kind of helps reset. You know, those who missed out on certain plays can get in. I think it's just an exciting time to be trading right now, and I couldn't be more excited. So I said excited a lot.
No, but again, we are excited because the market has been nothing short of exciting, especially the past the week or so leading into the election and then post-election. So you can't deny that the market has been absolutely exciting, especially when you have stocks like Tesla appreciating an insane amount, and as well as the crypto sector just absolutely roaring. So that's something that is really good for us traders and day traders especially. So Dear Oil, do you think TQQ is finally building a support level, or is it too early to say? Well, looking at the Qs here, Dear Oil, I'm not too sure how much Dear Oil, exactly.
Get it, Dear Oil.
Dear Oil. I don't know if it could be building a base. Could you look for a potential bottom, but also just be prepared for it to break the low of the day as well too, right? So just keep in mind, wait for price to tell you that it's turning around. As of right now, I wouldn't really be looking for a long on the Qs, but that's just me. It's totally subjective, right? So if your setup is showing up, then by all means, take it and execute it correctly. But as for me, I don't know if the Qs, which look like they're going to breach the low of day right now, is a long in my thoughts. But I'm just sitting here in AMD, and I think in order for AMD to continue to crawl higher, I'm going to need the Qs to participate in the broader market as well too. So we have Apple, the big boy, sitting in second place now at market capitalization. You had NVDA, Apple, and Microsoft. So that thesis is playing out well for you,
Nobody's
Sharif.
going to unseat those three. We're not even close.
No, you can't
Amazon's
unsee that. No, you can't.
right?
And
like,
you know what I mean? And Tesla just hit $1 trillion again not too long ago. But I mean, if you're looking for someone who's crawling and just gaining ground, Google.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So Google is always a good look there. But again, Apple's making new lows of day.
Goodness gracious.
Seeing around minus 2.28% on the session, down $5. So that's just my look there. And AMD is continuing to crawl higher, and I think that's what I'm just going to keep my eye on. Can Bitcoin make a new high of day today? Possibly. We're creeping in on it. We're not too far off of it. The high of day on IBIT sitting around 48.54, and we're about 48.41 there, Sharif. But other than that, I'm going to keep my eye on AMD. I'm going to look to add into this position. Okay, boom. It's my moment to shine. Here we go. It's this time. Trade the pool, guys. Trade the Pool allows traders like you to get evaluated and trade real shares using the company's capital. With no PDD rule, holding you back, that's a real edge in trading. Here's the exciting part, guys. Trade the Pool has just launched a limited edition program for stock traders. For a one-time free fee of just $97, you'll receive $20K in buying power. All you need to do is reach the profit goals. The best part, this limited edition program now has a reduced profit goal and fewer minimum trades required to reach the funded phase. Plus, the profit split is upgraded. Keep 70% of the profits. Don't miss the chance to explore this limited offer. Join now for free. The link is in the description, guys. So make sure you join, scan the QR code, and become a funded trader.
So I didn't know that there were printed scripts.
Yeah,
You guys got the treat because Ram Ram just throws me to the side.
5-star.
Right? She's like, look, bro, you got to figure it out. You're the one doing the ad read. You organize.
What?
You've got a paper printed out.
I got a
and
paper.
everything like
Yeah,
that.
I walked into the office on Thursday and Fabian's like, oh, here, Joe, you can read. Which one do you want to read? I'm like, oh, yeah, very nice. Thank you. Yeah, that's what it is. So we were treated very well. It's 5-star.
Yeah, clearly, bro.
Very
When she wants to be nice to people, she knows how to turn it up.
Yeah, but we're
that's
Libra twins. That's why we.
Oh, that's right. She's a fake Libra. I forgot about that whole thing there where she's doing that. Shout out to Ram Ram. We love Ram Ram. Come on. All right, guys. I was talking to Carrie Weaver in the chat. Carrie, you bring up a solid point. We've seen the dance before between Trump and Canada with respect to tariffs. I don't want to say Canada came out unscathed. That's not the truth. But he does seem, and by he, I'm talking about Donald Trump, seems to make exceptions from time to time for when it makes sense to him. I mentioned the Apple exception before when he got that call from Timmy C. It was an unsolicited call, let me tell you. And he could make exceptions for other Canadian exports. I mean, it's a $3.5 billion a day trade between our two countries. $3.5 billion a day. So, you know, there's something's got to give a little bit there. We'll obviously, we're just kind of guessing at this point, so we'll see exactly what we get in short order. All right, guys, I'm in FOXO, and I'm not happy with this trade, and I want to tell you why. It did hold the level that I like, that 84 penny. Look at that, reject, and then hold. So I did like the fact that it respected a previous area of resistance, flip to support. What I don't like about this is the umpteen amount of lower highs that we're getting now on the chart. This ain't the look for me if we're going to start putting in these lower highs. I'll flatten out for a little bit of a loss. Right now, we're 3 pennies out of the money. That's what I'm seeing right now. So if you want to take this as the top, the area crest, the breach of $1, so that's the high, successively lower high, another lower high, and currently, if we reject 90 pennies, that's another lower high. That ain't the look. That's not what I'm going for here. So I'm not shorting this name. So I like the fact that it held at VWAP. I like the fact that it held at a previous area of resistance, but I don't like the lower high look. So I'm going to be watching this a little bit closer and looking to weasel my way out of it if I have to. So that is a look there. Not much else for me going on right now. CONL, I got out of the entire position there as it broke down through 69.50. I'm very proud of this trade. This is one of my better trades in a hot minute. I don't think I've ever been $2 in the money on anything on the show. So the fact that, you know, I almost had $2 on that makes me kind of appreciate you, Adara. I know Adara's taken more than $2, but she loves those spready tickers, and they're a lot more volatile. What have you been looking at today? Anything that you want to update the people on?
Cigna, trying to flat top break at 345.
SIGNA, which?
CI,
Cigna, says Adara. She said it's flat top break.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Yeah, I like that ascending wedge.
Let's have what's the ticker on that, Adara?
CI.
CI. Okay. Oh, that's easy. All right, let's have a look at this one, Joe, because Adara says it's flat top break.
Yeah, look at
yes.
that.
Look at this. Okay, so for a hot minute now, we've been weak move up there. Was this an earnings winner?
No, I can send the catalyst.
The catalyst is in the chat. Okay, so I'll look at that in a sec. Guys, this closed out at around $320 on Friday. The high of the day that we put in the pre, albeit got into about 351. We're, as I mentioned, sideways at 345. But the most notable thing I would say about this is we're above VWAP, and it's putting in a symphony of higher lows, especially since that 930 drop there, Joe, off the pre-market high. Every successive low has been higher than its predecessor, so keep your eye out for that one. CI. Apparently, we are going to Brenda.
Oh,
all right.
All right.
All right, we are back. We were talking a lot over the past couple of weeks and over the past couple of days about the success for small caps in recent trading. There he is. Todd Shapiro is CEO of Red Light Holland, friend of the show, back with us for the first time in a little while. Good to see you, my friend. How are you?
Yeah, Brendan, great to see you, man. It is awesome. Like, we're very excited that there's some movement in the small caps and the CSE or on the OTC, and obviously others are on the TSX. But yeah, it's nice to see some volume back in the game. And I think there's a real big focus, it appears, again, in the psychedelic sector, especially where Red Light Holland focuses on psilocybin specifically.
Yeah, typically, I mean, there's so many different ways we can go on this. Let's touch on macro first, Todd, and then we'll drill down a little bit to what's happening with the overall company. You mentioned, we were discussing this a little bit last week. You mentioned the simple fact that regulation could be moving in the right direction finally south of the border for further expansion on the research side, further expansion on the medical side specifically. Talk a little bit about that and what you think might be the easiest path here as far as this industry in general is concerned.
Yeah, and we've been saying it for years, but obviously there's a lot of hype now with Donald Trump becoming your next president, the 47th president of the United States, but his alignment and allegiance with RFK Jr. And that's a big push towards psychedelics. You hear Rogan talk about it. I mean, it's something, to be honest, obviously I'm nowhere near the size of Rogan, but as Red Light's mission and mandate, we've been talking about the importance of psilocybin and other psychedelic therapies for veterans. What a perfect day to be talking about it on Remembrance Day here in Canada. And of course, lest we forget, and thank you to all our fallen past and present soldiers. I mean, it just means tremendous what they've done to fight for our freedoms. And why aren't we taking care of them? And it's really interesting now. So RFK Jr. coming in and talking about looking for access, looking to help veterans, and back to what we've been saying for many years is, I don't want to get into a whole political divide conversation, but we've been saying that we think the conservatives will lean towards veteran access before the liberals will. And I think this is now what we're starting to see a path towards. And believe it or not, before RFK Jr., and I could go through a list that I have written down here, but there have been numerous different senators and leaders of certain states that are on the conservative and Republican side that have been pushing for bills for many years now. Actually, we're seeing a lot more on that side of the party divide. So when it comes to hopefully the future, we believe it's looking bright, but most importantly, we want it to look bright because we want to help people. These medically assisted suicides is not something we personally agree with when it comes to helping with trauma. We understand there's terminal illnesses or certain really tough situations on when people would have to make that very difficult decision for themselves and for their families. But why aren't we allowing, especially veterans and those with trauma, to have another option before maybe taking their own life from a medically assisted suicide, which is something that Canada does and does quite often, actually. So, statistically, we're trying to show the benefits of psilocybin that are proven by science. Studies show it now. FDA is even given 2 breakthrough opportunities now to explore psilocybin specifically, and those continue along for different disorders, and one of them being trauma. So we as a company continue to advocate and push for the right to try, but most importantly, and on a day like today, a right for our veterans to try psychedelics, specifically psilocybin, to help.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and something that is very important to continue working on. When it comes to Red Light Holland, tell us a little bit about that process and the steps toward participating more so in the research side of things.
Yeah, and listen, candidly, it is a slow process, and as a company, we've always prided ourselves on doing it carefully, cautiously, and factoring in the use of proceeds with our capital, call it the war chest. So, we were fortunate when there was early hype in the psychedelics to raise on the back of that and raise on very high valuations. So it wasn't as dilutive as it may, appear, the way it looks now as the charts have come down for typically all of the psychedelic companies. But for us, we when it comes to research and development, we've had 5 psilocybin import permits from Health Canada. We grow magic truffles. It's terrible to say the magic. We got to get rid of the magic, I think. They're just psilocybin-based truffles in a legal climate that we're allowed to grow and sell. In fact, as a publicly traded company, we believe that we've sold more legal psilocybin as a publicly traded company than any other company that's publicly traded in the world. And I mean the big companies even that supply for clinical trials and do more synthetic versions of psilocybin. So we're really proud of that. And of course, getting those 5 psilocybin import permits from Health Canada, working with Seacrest Laboratories. We are continuing this talk on R&D, but where are we putting the capital to use? Because we need to commercialize it at the end of the day. So it's a slow process, but it's one that we are absolutely zero in on. And I'm not going to say I'm going to have an announcement soon regarding the advancements of that, but working on these homogenized capsules, working on the extraction, it's still all part of the plan. And ultimately, what we want to do is create a standardized product that can be commercialized, sold through a naturally occurring substance, and with the end goal and the clear aim to help human beings.
Let's go to the retail side of things here, Todd, for a minute. The company announced a deal with Costco Canada earlier on this year. Tell us about that. Exciting for Canadians, anyways.
Yeah, it's massive. I mean, again, 4.5 years ago, we went public, raised a bit of money, raised more money, and we were heavily focused on psilocybin, as we've just been talking about, and the access and the right to try. Understanding now that the markets were taking time to get there, governments weren't sort of putting this into motion as quickly as we all had hoped for at the beginning, like they did with cannabis, we made a pivot. And we made a pivot into regular mushroom growth. And when I say that, I mean shiitake, lion's mane, oyster. So we have like a fresh mushroom farm in New Brunswick, Canada. We have a major brand now called Happy Caps that does these home grow kits for your viewers that may not know that, and they sell into America as well. And we opened up a massive partnership with Costco Canada. We're in 82 stores currently selling these home grow mushroom kits where you can grow at home and get good value, get the freshest mushrooms possible to cook with and harvest. And again, that's in 82 Costco stores. And I think it's a really big accomplishment because, the sales channel is slow in produce and in consumer packaged goods. And you really got to develop relationships carefully. And for a company that only pivoted into the home grow kit of mushrooms or fresh mushroom produce a few years ago, we think we've grown leaps and bounds in that department. And we still have, really good conversations going on with major retailers in the United States today. And the goal is to continue to expand the CPG while we wait out the side of psychedelics. So, we're kind of split down the middle here. We got to focus on revenues in the near term through legal mushrooms, but eventually we would love to get the other mushrooms legal to help people, because at the end of the day, we're very good growers. We can grow a shiitake tremendously well, and we can grow a magic truffle tremendously well. And hopefully you two as well can currently grow your shiitake, lion's mane, or oyster because of our blocks. But maybe one day, like cannabis, when they legalized cannabis in Canada, they allowed every household to have up to a certain number of cannabis plants to grow at home. And the whole theory, if you think of the vision, is will you be able to grow at home if and when regulations ever permit your own magic mushrooms for your own care? And that's really part of a long-term strategy for us. And we believe, if you look back at this in 10 years, I mean, just put your hand up if you're watching, or, yell at the screen, because so many people are trying magic mushrooms. So many people are self-medicating really responsibly with a lot of education and information. Of course, the science is backing it now, increasing our neuroplasticity and how it is helping the brain and breaking down our priors and actually breaking down the bricks for us to go back to, in a way, a childlike state where we were happy. We didn't have this trauma. These bricks didn't go up. We didn't shut our brains down. We're reopening our mind, and we're able to help ourselves through microdosing or through these facilitator-based bigger macrodosing, call it, through therapy. And we're going to continually push for it. And we're big believers in the right to try. I'm sorry, I'm always long-winded, Brendan.
That's okay.
I'm super passionate. And we just want to help people as a company. Red Light Holland has always said that. It's not easy, especially when the microcaps were dipping there. I mean, the CSE index just looked terrible there for the last 2 years. And we'd like to say we're very proud to be very relevant still, to have a significant amount of cash. Last reported, I believe, $14 million. And as well, I think last week on the CSE, we were the highest volume traded stock on the Canadian Securities Exchange. So that speaks in, I think, significant numbers in the fact that we're growing a business, we're getting great distribution, but we're also keeping an eye on a stock for investors. And we want to make sure that people, do their financial due diligence and look towards like these sort of, maybe it's a higher risk play, but at least recognize that we have a great runway while growing a business. And of course, the mission, I don't think anyone can argue with.
Todd, I want to get your opinion here on the regulation side of things. You and I have had a conversation in the past many times about the retail side of things and the place for retail. We mentioned this earlier this morning, if anyone was with us in the pre-market, but Recently, we've started to see in Toronto the closure of some of these retail shops that have popped up in advance of any kind of regulation and legalization coming through. We saw the similar activity happen before cannabis got that approval. I mean, these are two very, very different industries, but talk about that similarity a little bit there as far as the retail application is concerned.
Yeah, in Canada, the amount of illegal magic mushroom shops operating is mind-blowing. We've done some research into it, and when cannabis shops were illegal, and when the governments and the authorities came and started shutting them down, which ultimately led to the legalization back in 2018, which, by the way, a lot don't realize, Stephen Harper, a conservative leader for Canada, was the one that initially put the bill forth to explore the legalization of cannabis. So it's funny with the conservative Democrat stuff or liberal stuff. But back to the shutdowns, yes, we'd like to have a approach which gets rid of the illicit market. I think it's really important. You want to make sure you know how to get proper supply. You want to make sure that it's grown properly, that it's safe, that there's education, there's information, responsible use aspect. That has to come. We think it's a very important strategy. Is there a relation? The only interesting, I think, wildly, side of that all is that there are probably 10 times as much of illegally operating magic mushroom shops now than there were cannabis shops. So if you think about that mind-blowing numbers, the people have spoken. That's my point. People are supporting these illegal shops. They're not afraid to walk into them. They're using them because they want to help take care of themselves. They want to cut back on alcohol. They want to cut back on opioids, and they're realizing and they're reading the science that this can absolutely help with that. So the people are speaking up. And we should be listening to the people. And that's a lot of what you're hearing now with this kind of big pivot going on in America, and maybe that'll lead into the United States. But why are we taking people's freedom of speeches away? And part of that is the right to try naturally occurring products. Again, back to Rogan and back to RFK Jr. and back to the Elon Musk, and what everybody is talking about is, whether it's from the media, that, you are the media. And what I'm saying is you are the people who should be able to choose what path forward you want to be able to help yourself. And magic mushrooms are grown from the ground. We talked about this, Brendan, numerous times. In indigenous roots, they've been used for tens of thousands of years for healing purposes. So the whole concept is ludicrous. You don't get me into healthy eating too, because I also think the whole sugar outlandishness and over pushing of terrible products for human beings has just been exploited for the past 40 to 50 years. And I think there's very responsible corporate and good companies with great corporate governance and self-regulatory measures to ensure that better products get into human beings. And that will equate helping both mind, body, and soul. And we need to take care of humans now. There's such a mental health crisis going on. Economies are tough. Hopefully we see some pickup in that with help, which does help the mind at times, because people relate financial stress to ultimate, really terrible stress. So we need to push forward with great products, and that's what Red Light Holland is continually doing, whether it's through our legal magic truffles in the Netherlands and selling them and growing them and distributing them across to hundreds of different smart shops, to then working with regular mushrooms here and getting them out to like 300, 400, 500 different distribution points of sale, and then eventually working with hopefully the governments and whether it's liberal or conservative government, as I said before, to push for the right to try, most importantly. And I don't want to sound exploitative at all, but we need to help our veterans now.
TRIP, guys, you saw the chart there, quick double over the past week and a half or so. It's been pretty exciting for small caps. Todd Shapiro, CEO of Red Light Holland. Good to see you.
As always, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. And I love your channel. Trader TV's kick-ass, so you guys do a wonderful job with it. And it's fun to have a retail buyer. By the way, we have like tens of thousands of retail investors in our company. So, we always say we're the people's company. We appreciate you, and we appreciate you doing such a good job speaking of retail markets.
Thanks, Todd. Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Very interesting interview. Very eye-opening too. I don't know if you caught the Rogan pod with our friend Elon.
Elon, yes.
But they were talking about just that kind of stuff there, and it's not something that I pretend to be an expert in at all. But it's something that especially for, as he was mentioning, for the vets and stuff like that. It's definitely a nice exploratory area.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, coming from a storefront perspective, I mean, it was the same before cannabis was legalized here in Canada. You had these pop-up shops like Canna Clinic and remember that place? Canna Clinic. Remember Canna Clinic?
Which, are you
Yeah.
talking about the one on Yonge and Egg?
No, there's one on they had that one, and then there was one on Queen Street, and they were everywhere.
They were
in
good
Kensington,
times.
right? Canna Clinic was up there, but I mean, again, they got shut down real quick, and then they just open up
they
again,
reopened.
and then just.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's a matter of time until these things become fully legal. I'm not one to say I dabble in any of that. If I'm speaking truffle, it's balsamic truffle from Scatterbush. Have you had that? Have you had the balsamic truffle from Scatterbush?
I haven't.
I'm a big cheese guy, so it's really good.
Truffle season. When is
Truffle-
truffle season? Like August?
You're past me on that
So
one, man.
uneducated.
You're way past me on that
Yeah.
one. Just
They-
bring me the balsamic truffle from Scatterbush, and I'm happy. All right. It is good stuff there. But yeah, man, Sharif.
Yes, sir.
We'll pull up my chart here on AMD.
Chilean Nightmare is just like hanging out beside us here. How are you? Did you close that position on save? No. Yes.
no.
I'm
Oh.
telling you, bro. Like I don't want.
Did he know? Did he?
He knows. I told him. We're gonna load
Pull it
up
up
save
here.
right
Pull
now,
up
Ram
here,
Ram.
save, man. He's
We're
excited
gonna have a
about
look
this.
at the chart now. While we're talking about save, what is this? Look at this direction.
Hey.
And my man,
Pull
look,
up the daily on this thing.
he didn't even get into it today. He's been in for a hot minute, at least 2 weeks. Correct? Yeah.
I got in at the very top there.
This bad boy over here?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're $1 in the money almost. So good for you. And again, what I was telling Fabian off camera was, I was like, look, there is going to be a fundamental shift in deal making, whether IPOs or acquisitions and mergers. And this company was prevented from merging with 2 different companies, Fabian. First, it was JetBlue. Second, it was Alaskan. So they had suitors, but the government said, yeah. So I hope you press up a storm.
Yeah, nice trade there, Fabian.
The Chilean Nightmare
there,
killing it there, and then he just like walked away, mic drop, you know, it's all
cold
good.
walk away. Doesn't even look back. Just a mic drop and later. Doesn't even look back. So there you go.
I pity the
Guys,
fool that doesn't hit the like and subscribe button.
It's okay. We
it's
can
all right.
play
Hey,
along.
like and subscribe.
Neil is in Rome for anybody who's wondering. Him and the fam out there enjoying beautiful Rome. How was it last time you went, Katina? You went last year, didn't you? He said it was horrible.
It was horrible. When
Something
in Rome.
I don't believe him.
No.
Not for a second there.
Oh my.
Everything
the
was
wine-
horrible.
The wine
The
was
food
just
was
bad.
horrible. Everything was not.
Go back to Rome.
Don't go back. He says. Don't go back.
The gelato was.
Katina, man, you're not.
pathetic, he
Nobody's
said.
believing any of that, Katina, man.
Wow. Wow.
The fresh made pasta was,
Yeah, it was
disgusting.
horrible. The sauce
according to
And
Sean,
the pizza.
take him back. Now, let's talk a little trading over here, guys, because I weaseled out a couple of positions over here. My position on FOXO.
Oh.
Wow, that was an inopportune
Wow.
time to talk about it because we just got stopped out for a big loss there on FOXO. Yeah, literally, I was about to wax poetic about this. Be like, hey, look, it's putting in higher lows and holding VWAP. I literally loaded it up and I was stopped
What was
out
that?
for half, and then I got stopped
What
for
was that
the full
skull
position.
one there?
So, yeah, fantastic trade by me here, Katina Man, and yeah, great, good luck. The Katina Man is short the future right now on his chart. There it is.
there you
I
go.
was talking about that while you were at the gym, man. We got that rejection off VWAP. I'm sure you can see that. The
Saying that,
blue
was it
line
break the
on the
low?
Katina Man's chart there. He was looking at the 50 period. Good call. I was looking at VWAP, but I think that was kind of the same look there. So good call on you. Katina Man short T-triple-Qs down now 1 2/3 as the actual NQ December contract, Joe, down 0.5%. But that's the only one that's really in negative land. ES is only down 0.1. The Dow's up 2/3. And the Russell, oh, baby, 1 1/3 in the green today on the Russ. So that rotation trade as these small caps continue to catch wind, man.
Yeah, good stuff. And speaking of small caps, Sharif, someone in the chat has been absolutely raving and going on about KULR. I'm not too sure if you're familiar with this stock, but I can't find too much about it. But what I will do here is look at it from a technical standpoint and say good on you because its thing is absolutely ripping to the top side. I'm not too sure what they do, but whoever mentioned KULR, good luck there because the volume is stepping in and we are creating an isolated, well, we already passed that pivot. So good luck on KULR. We're a little bit off the all-time highs. still about 100% off that all-time highs, but you're gaining ground here at putting in a spectacular session, which looks to be up around 30% on the day. But guys, what we will do here is touch on my AMD trade, and Elon in the chat, unfortunately, this thing just does not want to go at all. So what we did is we entered, we hit in this quick accumulation phase, and then we made a high. I took some off. Unfortunately, I didn't take enough off, and then the trade came back against us. We were slightly positive on it, but it came back a little bit past my break even, and I took a little bit more off the backside of this trend, but the market was just tanking, so I took it off. And we'll talk more about AMD and other small cap gappers when we get back from Adara.
I have some more info on that KULR. So this is called KULR Technology Group. There's no news on this one, but we've seen today some of these names ahead of earnings have been making moves, and KULR reports after the bell on Wednesday. So this ticker could be on watch there. Short float of about 4% here, market cap of around $85 million with a 155 million share float. They do work in the technology space, and they trade on the Amex, guys.
Got in at 9 or something. Shout out to the Katina man. Him and I just talking off camera there about a couple of trades we've got on. Guys, I'm interested here in Google. Now, there's been a lot of blood on the Mag 7, and we just printed the low of day right now on the NQ December contract. However, we're at that 21,100. So could we find support at this area? If we do, goggles looking awfully good today. It's up 0.7. It's not the biggest percentage winner for Mag 7. That's obviously reserved for the Cybertruck, up 5.5. But it's the second best performing name of the Mag 7. So I'm interested in goggles here as a long. Now, the future's obviously going to have to hold up. I'm not going to be taking goggles long at VWAP if the future continues to bleed. But what I'm looking at is at 21.1 to see if we hold up above 21.1 on the NQ December. And then I'd be very interested in a long on Google for maybe a 180 break and take. If I get really lucky, a high day break. So I've loaded up Google here on a trading screen. I'm sorry for the distortions. I'm not sure where the wick is. Where the hell is the wick? Why is it distorting like this? Anyway, I'll have to fix that out after. But yeah, we'll be looking to get in on Google if it does hold up. But I got to tell you guys that the afternoon segment is nothing without viewer input. The Katina man and the OB is the one, Kanob, are going to be on the big boy desk today, and they're going to be looking at the top 5 tickers as decided by you. So if there's that stock that you want to hear how the Katina man thinks about, or how he traded, or how he would have, or likewise with OB, get into that dang chat right now and vote for it. Let's see what people are talking about there in the chat. Nathan talking about PLTR tanking. Get into the chat, Nathan. Vote for PLTR. Brennan Walsh. GRYP, told you guys, hope some joined. Vote for it, my man. See what the big kahunas have to say about that. Seth, talking to Pastorma about SOXL. That's the ETF for the chips. Long, we got NYC Urbanista talking about FOXO halted. Don't I know? I almost got caught in that. I got out of Dodge super quick. Let me show you. Let me show them, Ram. Or did I get rid of it? I think I got rid of it. But in any event, New York City Urbanista, throw it in the chat. See what the big kahunas think about that bad boy there. And yeah, every day you have until about 1:50, and every person gets 1 vote, but only the top 5 make it on, guys. So if you've got friends in the chat, have them vote your way, bully them, do whatever you need to do there, and let me know how it goes. No, don't bully, of course. We say that as an expression, of course. Don't bully anybody. Bullying is no good.
We don't like bullies. We don't like bullies. But guys, I know someone in the chat mentioned TQQ, and I know Katina's in this as well too. But I mentioned why I wasn't looking for a long on this thing, excuse me, is because of this, how we slowly started to curl over, and you can see the indecision within the price action here, just trading above VWAP, and no volume stepped in at all. It actually started to dwindle. So in my eyes, I'm like, hey, is this just a pullback? Possibly. And then look what happens when we break low a day. The volume steps in, and it continues and creates another leg lower. So that's exactly why I wasn't looking for a long in particular around this specific area, around 82 on the TQs, because of the potential of going to test the low of day and then breaking with some volume and conviction. So that is what happened. So I mean, continue to hold if the market continues to move lower. I mean, the tech sector is the weakest sector overall today, down about 1.1% on the session, and then real estate down about 0.5% as well. But sitting in first place, we have the financials, still the consumer discretionary, with Tesla leading the way up about just under 10% on the session, and then industrials placing there, guys, in third. So, and I'm going to look for IBIT. I think we're slowly starting to curl over. We failed to make any new highs on the day, which is totally fine because we were extended. The thing has been on an absolute monstrous run. Let me get these wicks out of here. And then, yeah, so I don't know. I'm going to probably just sit on my hands for a little bit, wait for something to happen. Shreve, you mentioned goggles up the second strongest one of the Mag 7 here. But still slowly pulling back a little bit. Shreve, I think I might join you on this one, my friend. If we can continue to go to the, or hold these levels and slowly start to curl around, and then maybe we can go and test VWAP again. But as of right now, I'm just packing my patience on this one, and I'll fix that dark pool later. But other than that, I'm just going to sit on my hands and see what's cooking up for later on. What do you got going on, brother?
Keeping an eye out on CONL again here, Joe. It's got a resistance level of 69.50. That's been in play here for the better part, I want to say, of half an hour or so. So it's not even like this 69.50 is a new level. We did breach it when we got to 70.50, but look how quickly we gave up that level at 70.50 and and continued on our merry way with that resistance level at 69.50. The first time we got into that level was 20 after 12. We broke it, and then we've been once, twice, OB thrice, rejecting 69.50. Now, what's operative here is not the 69.50 flat top break possibility. It's the higher low situation over here that we're putting in on CONL. And so now let me have a look at the actual instrument itself. I'm talking about BTC. Now, obviously, that's not the only thing that guides CONL. It doesn't just have that on its exchange. It's got plenty of other different types of crypto. So, you know, this is the one that's obviously the most important by market cap, by volume, by everything, or not by volume because it doesn't do as much volume as ETH, for example, obviously, but it's the one that most people keep their eye on. So I'll be basing my CONL trade on the performance of BTC. Right now, we're a little bit below 84,500, about 84,450, but we're going to give this one the old college try over here to basically, oh, it's not even going to let me in. I'm going to have to chase this, Joe, so that sucks. So, and there it is. It's breaking out. No, it's not breaking out. That's not the correct statement. But the spread is getting awfully wide here. And I don't want to have to be chasing this at a level that I don't like. But what I really like are the higher lows and the flat top. I'm getting in. I'm going to work my way into this. So this is a smaller position here that we got into at 48. I'll be looking at DCA into 69s, knowing full well that there is a seller of note here at 50 and has been for some time. So let's see if we can take them out. I'm going to set up my layered DCAs on this name to take advantage of some volatility. So we'll put some orders out there, Joe, and hope that we've got the right trade on here because I like the higher low situation. Whether or not it likes me, an entirely different story there. So we're layering the orders, looking for a breakout back above 84.6 is BTC. So quick as you like, it's above $200. But we're still dealing with that 50 penny seller on CONL. He's of note, or they're of note, and we can't take him out as of yet. And it's obviously an iceberg order, as there's really nothing posted of significant size on the actual book. So there it is. We broke through it. Now let's see if we can continue over here. Did we get a print? No, we didn't get any prints yet. So I'd rather, yeah, there we go. Now we're getting some good DCAs into this, but Bitcoin is still continuing to move up. So I'm happy that I was able to get a bit of a better price there. I'm sorry for the noise, guys. It looks like as if we've got some construction in and around the building. So yeah, do apologize for that noise. Hopefully they won't be too long, Joe.
Yeah, no, exactly, Sharif. And that's one thing I'm going to point out. You're in CoinL there, so I decided to hop in a little bit of Bitcoin. We're going to hold on to this position, but we're going to stick to what's strong and what has been working for us on the day. What an absolute monstrous trend. You could have bought any dip here on Bitcoin and then made a successful trade. So I'm just going to hold on to this position. I know I took a little bit off, but I have risk until 48.11s. So if it breaks that, that's fine. But all I did was just take a little risk off here, but I'm still willing to risk a little bit to see if we can hold these specific levels. But I just want to stick to what's hot. We know that the tech sector is the weakest of them all today, but I'm going to stick to an underlying asset that is absolutely strong, and that is Bitcoin. We're trading at around 84,000. I almost said 65,000. A little 2 weeks behind, guys. But yeah, I mean, this is what we're going to continue to look at, and we're going to look to continue to join what's strong and just avoid what's not. And let me know in the chat, guys, what you guys are looking at. I know there's a lot of tickers. We went over KULR, we went over RDDT, and a bunch of other things. So we don't got too much time, only a little half an hour left on the show. So point out what you're looking at, and then maybe we can do some analysis on it. But as of right now, it looks like the overall market is just in recovery mode. Apple's starting to curl back up a little bit, trading around $222 on the session, down 2.16% on the day, which is fine, and it's leading that weakness in the sector. Google being the only positive one, as we mentioned before, but then we have NVDA down 2.1%, or just 2% on the session as well too. So I'm looking for a little bit of strength to step in. I don't know if it's going to happen today or anytime soon, but eventually I think it will. Maybe later in the afternoon we get a buy program around 2 o'clock. But as of right now, the overall sentiment of the market seems slightly weak. And I mentioned this before. I think in order for this market to continue higher, you need the larger participants, those larger market capitalization companies, to join with you in order to continue on that ascend higher, all right? So that's just something that you need to keep in mind. Is like, well, why isn't, someone in the chat said, why is PLTR tanking but still positive on the day? Well, I'm pretty sure it gapped up on the session. So that's hence why it can still be positive, 2.5%, but still look like it's trading lower, right? So you can see from a daily perspective, we gapped up, sorry guys, we gapped up here on the session with a massive gap up around 58, and then that open on the day sitting around 60. So hence why we're still at a positive session, even though the underlying asset is selling, is that gap. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to speak really loud here, guys. These guys are drilling, and I'm trying to drill some positions here in IBIT as well too. So I'm just gonna have to speak a little louder there, guys. But yeah, that was my sense on PLTR and why it's still positive, even though it does seem like it's trading lower on the day, right? But you had that massive gap up, and I don't know if we're gonna go and test these lows of days anytime soon. But all I know is that I'm gonna stay in this IBIT position for as long as I can until it tells me otherwise. Then I am not going to be getting out. But it is not a good sign when you have big boys like NVDA and Microsoft selling on the day. So we have to keep that in mind, folks, because Microsoft down 1% on the session and still not that close to its all-time highs. So keep that in mind, guys. Well, I shouldn't say not that close, still about 10, 15%, maybe about 15% or so. I'll have to take a look at that, but keep that in mind, guys. I'm gonna look to join in some Microsoft too for maybe a long-term play. I missed the gap fill play on that, but we are retesting it, which is also, it was just extremely lucrative and I like, so we'll keep an eye on that. But again, I don't wanna have too many positions going at once in the swing account, Sharif, because it's like management. That's why we need the algo. But my friend, I'm gonna hold on to this IBIT position. What are you looking at?
Yeah, I'm kind of the same thing, but I'm doing it through CONL. I also want to mention something else that's moving here, guys. Microsoft is double bottoming, and this is very interesting here because Softy was initially, you know, these bottoming tail candles really had my attention, but the volume and the lack of catalyst and the fact that the market was moving down while this was moving up had me stay out of this. Now we've got a pretty established double bottom here, but we're still rejecting off the 20. And look how the 20, which is the yellow line on my chart, was the operative resistance line there. We couldn't break through it on a closing basis. You had a quick wick through it there at 12.10. Now we are moving up above it. Okay, so it's not on a decisive, you know, because the candle hasn't closed yet, so we don't know if this candle is going to technically close above the 20. But what I would say is look for a neckline break and take above that 419 on a closing basis. And you may not have to wait long on Microsoft right now for that because it just weaseled up into 418 and 2/3 there. Good look for MSFT. If it's able to take the neckline, possibly have a shot into 420. Which is the volume weighted average price. So good look there. We'll keep an eye out on that for, MSFT. We're up huge here, Joe.
Whoa.
We're up huge here, Joe, on this. Boom. And we've got bigger shares here.
Go.
I don't usually take big shares on the show. And if you know, you've been watching, you know that about me. But this one was bigger. Bang on this one. Nice. Yes, boy. We're going to look to take it out over here at 60s. Next time, where are we long? We're long at 81s. I just wet my beak out at 40s. I love CONL. It has been good to me today. So I'm sorry for yelling. I get a little excited. That's kind of my thing. I do apologize about that. It's more of, you know, The fact that I just had a lot of R&R, so there's a lot of pent up energy. Joe.
Exactly. And then when you're smashing big trades, then that's when you get the fist pumping. I always know to look over at Sharif when the fists are pumping because I might have to dodge one or two here. So yeah, exactly, a big left hook. But we have a question in the chat from Leidoki. I have a serious question. Is it better to short or buy a put? That's a great question, but it also depends what kind of strategy you're looking to employ, my friend. Because if you short a put, that means you are synthetically long. So if you're looking for an asset to depreciate, you want to buy the put. But if you're looking for an asset to appreciate, you're going to want to sell the put. But also mind you, that is shorting an option and you are naked. So you need to probably buy some coverage with that because your broker may not allow you to do so. So that is something key that you need to figure out. What are you looking to do with that put? Are you looking to go short or are you looking to go long? Because if you're new to options, I would suggest just buying a call and experimenting with calls before you start shorting options because it is a leveraged product. And when you start shorting options, those losses can get very, very big very quick, all right? So just keep that in mind. A weekly put or a short. But what are you, Lee Ducky, what are you looking to do? Like what kind of trade are you looking to? Are you looking to short the market or are you looking to go long? Because you asked, should you short or should you buy? So let me know if you're looking to go long or to go short. Because if you're looking to go long and you're just getting into options, I advise you to just buy some calls before you start shorting things. But hey, Sharif, what did I say earlier? I said, hey, I'm gonna just stick to things that are working. What is working? IBIT. It's the hottest thing in the market right now. It's the hottest thing.
Straight up.
It's the hottest thing. So let's stick to what's hot and what's not. Too hot to handle, this thing is. So we'll just see what, my favorite show. Rammer, I know you like Too Hot to Handle. It's one of my favorite. So we'll stick to that and we're gonna just continue to piece some out here as we only have about a half an hour left in the show. But I think we can go and test highs of days, and Sharif is, I feel like a fist pump is about to come, so I'm going to send
We took it out, Joe, so I had to. Because of that resistance level, I was unsure, but BTC itself, so we're talking about CONL here, and there was a seller at 50. We already knew that there was a seller at 50. That's not complicated technical analysis, but BTC is working its way back into 85. So it's at 84, 8.5 right now. So we're $150 off that $85 or $85,000 area. I'm getting back in here for smaller size, Joe. We're gonna have to participate over here. So this is much smaller than what I took before. We're doing it because we gotta trade on the show, right? This is a trading show. Bang! We take out one quickly. Shout out to the Katina man who I got that obviously from. Everybody knows that. We're gonna keep seeing here, or keep watching, excuse me, to see if we can break through that $70 area as we ascend again on Bitcoin. Let's go, BTC. 90s now showing up. Can we get that print a little bit above that 90 penny area? Bang! Again, we take it out. So good move today on CONL. We had resistance at 50. Now we've got resistance at 70 with the ultimate resistance, though, being that 70.5. We already saw it reject there, I think around noon or thereabouts. So where are we? About 30 pennies in the money now. Let's set something up at 10s to account for that. We're showing 9s. We just got a big flush off that 9s. 10s again showing up on the ask over here. Can we get the print? We still have to wait for that print. So we got to cross, guys. Remember that. So what's showing up on the ask doesn't necessarily mean that's what you're going to get printed on. The bid has to cross. So packing my patience as we zig and zag here. Joe, what are you looking at, bro?
Yeah, I'm just reading something in the chat from Red Candle Magnet. New trader here, 3 months into trying to figure this thing out. Seems like I'm just giving my money away 1% a day. Seems like every time I get in on a stock, it tanks. Assuming this is common, absolutely. It doesn't get any more common than that, especially in the earlier time in your journey. It's going to take a significant amount of time and a lot of screen time. You want to get as much screen time as possible, but I'll tell you one thing, Red Candle Magnet, that you are doing right. No, we're not.
It's good. It's good.
It's good. Okay.
It's funny.
Yeah, it's funny. It is, and we don't mean to laugh at your pain because we've all been through it.
Of course.
Sorry, I get a little blushy. But yeah, I mean, hey, just be prepared. It's going to be a journey and nothing short of it. It's totally common, but one thing you are keeping in check is those losses. 1% a day is absolutely, that's totally manageable. That's what you want to do, is keep those losses small until you can continue to get better and better day in day. saddle time, run replay, run back your trades, collect data. That's my words of advice. We'll talk a little bit more, Red Candle Magnet, on what it's like to become a beginner training and when you first start off. But let's send it off to Adara first, all right?
Let's take a look here at both the Bitcoin here and the USD because we did miss our Bitcoin segment. Shout out again to our friends there at Red Light Holland. But we're going to keep an eye here on BTC, which is nearing that 85,000 level. So much strength here in Bitcoin, of course, as we have these higher lows and this beautiful breakout here. Keep in mind, about a week ago, we were trading here around 68,000. Now we're almost 20,000 above that. So great look for BTC continuing here. Now, what about the US dollar? Also strong look, definitely not having the same kind of rally or strength that we see with BTC, but certainly finding a bit of a base, though still facing some resistance at that 106 level, currently around 105.60. Now, in terms of what to keep an eye on for the DXY this week, we do have a couple pieces of economic data on watch, including the CPI print and PPI print here. CPI coming on Wednesday. Both the month-over-month and year-over-year numbers for core were slightly higher here than the previous month. So let's see if those gains continue to be tracked here for CPI and PPI. But worth noting here, if there's any tickers you're looking at, regardless of what they are, put them in the chat, !join, space, $, and your ticker of choice. Why? Because the top 5 tickers there will be covered by Sean and Obi during the afternoon rundown. You only have about 15 minutes left to do so, guys. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that, Adara. Yes, on CONL, there is a seller of note at 70 Ram, and we've been unable to really decisively take him out because we've weaseled above, but we really haven't been able to stay above. And from my best observation, the bid is not crossing 70. The ask, from what I've seen, has weaseled up into that 70.05, 70.07, whatever, in and around that area, but the bid unable to ascend above 70. That is all the while we knock on 85,000, we are about $47 below 85,000 right now, at least on my chart, $84,953. So you got to make the assumption if BTC continues to ascend, doesn't it stand to reason that the current trade, I'm not saying fundamentally, the current trade on CONL breaks and takes that 70, at least that's what I'm banking on. I'll have to keep packing my patience because we're unable to take it. And this has been multiple times now. We're about $24 or away from that level. Keeping my eye on BTC, obviously, because of this trade on CONL. Good look. Guys, I should mention that Microsoft is at 419. So that level, we were talking about the neckline break on MSFT, well, we're right there right now. It also happens to be not just the whole dollar level, but the 50 exponential. This is an interesting trade. If it breaks above and holds above 419, you could easily get a squeeze into at least 420, where VWAP is hanging out. It's not the best trade on the day, especially going long on a MAX7 when the NQ is down 0.4. But this setup, you know, it's kind of hard to argue with this setup. Double bottom, neckline break, yada, yada, yada. You guys get it. Are we doing the ad read now, Ram? Are we? 1 more minute. Okay. 20 more seconds. So maybe we can get the 70 break and take over here while we're waiting for that. Okay. Well, that was a quick 20 seconds, Ram. All right, guys. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to that elite trading experience. You'll be able to analyze, strategize, and capitalize by foreseeing those profitable opportunities with the platform that you need. You get a lot of stuff. You get infinite data, you get instant trading, you get to know where the market is moving before others with that lightning fast data and execution. And we all know that a proper trading plan requires sound backtesting. That's what you get here. You get better backtesting, better scanning. You'll be able to predict the future by understanding what's happened in the past. There's also excellent real-time, reliable market data. You get up to the second market information from hundreds of global markets all around the world. I guess that's what global means. Everything you need all in one place. Don't miss a beat, guys. Execute your best trades now. If you're ready to elevate your trading, scan that QR code on the bottom right of your screen or head to the description of this video and click the link. Shout out to the great folks there at eSignal. And I guess that's a good luck charm because I just got that print at 70.10 on CONL. So 40 penny winner right now, Joe. We're not taking out the last little bit as we do the dance with no pants with 85,000 on Bitcoin. Adara's got something for us at the big desk.
I have not one but two tickers on watch here. One of them is GOVAX, GOVX, the ticker. This one actually is supposed to be reporting earnings tomorrow after the bell, but no new catalyst on this volume spike. But it's worth noting we did have a positive analyst note with a $15 price target this morning. They're currently trading around $2.50. We also did have India's Business Standard reporting here that there's some new claims that there is, I guess, additional spread here for Mpox. Now it can evolve to spread from human to human. So some Mpox related news for GOVX this morning as it gets a volume spike. Now we have AMZN trying to pop up a little bit here, but it's worth noting I'm seeing this story circulate here online. It's been reported here by TechCrunch that Amazon has confirmed that there was some employee data compromised through a third-party vendor breach, but it was only work contact information that was exposed. And this was linked to Move It, which was this mass exploitation hack from earlier this year, apparently called the hack of the year. So AMZN on watch as the company confirms there was some employee data compromised in a breach, guys.
The OB was telling me to look at the 15-minute power bar break. Yeah, that's huge. That one that just printed at 15s, right? Yeah, huge. Yeah, OB's telling me about the Apple trade and specifically the 15-minute chart. The last candle that printed there on the 15 on the dead one Apple is a power bar break. I just want to let you guys know that. Prior bar break, excuse me. This is what we're looking at right here. This bad boy. Oh, I thought he was talking to me. This bad boy right here. I'm not going to take Apple long.
Look at the 15-minute prints at the low.
The 15-minute print at the low, right at
those two. Yeah, right. So you see those indecision candles. Yeah, exactly.
Ah, got it.
You break that at an extreme low,
okay.
Especially when the stock like Apple is down 2%. You see that indecision print, especially on a higher time frame. Wow. Oh wow, Sharif, what are we?
Bro, I'm letting it go, baby. I'm letting it go, Joe.
But hold on,
we're $1 in the money, bro.
Bitcoin. Hold on, Bitcoin. It's a dollar club. I need the hot dog cannon over here.
I don't have it. The Katina man's got it. He's headed back to the desk.
So yeah. Brandon Walsh, Joey, options. Did you hold any Mara swings into the week? I have $20. Mara calls, letting it rock, man. What do you think? Big gap up tomorrow. I'm thinking, yeah, beautiful. Love it. We love it. But my friend Brandon, we are not in any Mara. We are in the underlying asset. We are in Bitcoin. We are in IBIT. We want some of that BlackRock Trust. And it is absolutely skyrocketing to the top all-time highs on the session today. Man, Bitcoin is roaring 85,000. We are an absolute new price discovery. Let's go to 100K. Tom Lee, my guy over at Fundstrat, has a price target of $250,000. I am going to be holding on more than you can ever imagine, and I'm looking to add here, Sharif, into this position and make it so gigantic I don't even know what to do with myself. And I want to be. I'm serious. I'm being dead serious.
This guy's killing me, bro. I love the energy,
yeah,
Joe. This is sick today, bro. This is good times today.
Sick day. All right, I'm done. Man,
all right. I took it out, bro. I had to get rid of this trade over here. I took it out at $70.80 on CONL. I'm happy with this trade. This is where we got in, multiple beak wetters. Same thing over here. We did the same dang thing on CONL. It's been awfully directional on the day. Coinbase, Bitcoin, everything. I'm getting long Google here for that 180 break and take. Look, this is not the best entry on Google. Oh boy, no, I'm gonna have to rethink that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to rethink that. I'm just not 100% sold. Anuja is yelling about Mara. Okay, let's have a look at Mara. $25. Come on, bro. Oh man, that's interesting there. The reason I'm just all upset about that is because, Joe, we called that $15 low and we didn't take the trade. So it means nothing. Let's have a look at the MARA on the 5-minute. It is at basically day's high. Strong name, guys. Adara, does this report after the bell? Mara.
No.
Not today. Okay, so let's have a look see when the report. Tomorrow after the bell. Thank you so much for that, Adara. Yes, they are reporting tomorrow after Zibel, November 12th. Earnings date. So this could be a run up. Obviously, Bitcoin is running. That's probably why this is moving. But just keep in mind that they do report tomorrow. And so, you know, if you're been long this position, maybe some profit taking, not making any suggestions, just letting you know that they are reporting tomorrow. So sometimes it is wise to.
Up 30% on the day.
It's ridiculous.
Wow.
That's ridiculous. Wow. And I know a lot of people were bag holding this from like that $15, $18 level.
Yeah,
because it's been a hot minute there, man.
It's been a hot minute, man.
It's been a hot minute there. Now, it's got a
being
propensity to fake out, breakout. And if I could show
it. Does. No, it does. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Yeah.
Let me show them the daily.
Yeah.
Because it's done this before, Joe.
So countless times.
Yep.
It would break up, gap up in the range, and then just head right back into that.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
And if this chart decides to load, there it is. This is what I'm talking about, guys. So we're on our merry way, 15 to 20. There's the base. You get the breakout, bang, all the way back down, testing 15 again. You get the breakout. Now, what's operative here is that we're not done. The trade isn't done, but it's still a lower high. So we're still below that 27.20 that we put back in July. And obviously, that's when the market was at all-time highs. I'm talking about the NQ, and then we ended up selling off quite aggressively. But the range has been friendly on Mara. That $15 range, if you bought at 15, you're laughing all the way to the bank. And then there was an even different range. There was a $19 top on MARA, and you saw that over here. Again over here, and then multiple times over here where it would work its way above 19, only to have it sell off towards the end of the day and close at or below 19. So I don't know if we've broken above this is a gap, Joe. This is a big boy gap over here. Did we get a gap last time? Yeah, we did get a gap, but it was quite perfunctory because it was filled within about 10 trading days. So obviously we don't know whether this gets filled or not, but I'm just letting you know that Mara has a propensity to fake out, breakout. The latest of those fake out breakouts were in mid-July when the market was putting in all-time highs. So good luck on whoever wants to take Mara, but just keep that in mind. All right, the last trade that I'm in that's boring me to death right now, but I kind of knew that this would be the case, is CAN. I still like it because it's trading above the volume-weighted average price. We're break even on it right now. I've gotten a couple of beak wetters over here, but this is not really why I got into the trade. I'm going to look for that 178 break and take. If I don't get it, I'll print something up around 176, 177, something like that, just to get at a dodge and continue the profitable day. But keep an eye out on that. 71 incoming, guys, for CONL as Bitcoin ascends again into that high day, and we could take out 85.5, Joe. We got into 85.445, and now we're putting in a 3-candle green pattern on the 1. Joe's getting excited. I like it. We could get a 71 break and take, guys. Keep your eye out on CONL or any other crypto-related name. They're all green. There is not one red name on my crypto watch list today, but I'm not really surprised by that.
Not at all. Sharif, someone asked me in the chat to look at CRM. Did you see CRM today? Absolutely monstrous. And I'll talk about this because I was looking to play CRM as well too. Salesforce.
Big. 11.25.
Yeah, I don't know why. Oh, it's
wow.
NY. That's why. Yeah, this thing is absolutely. Why you gotta keep doing that to me, embarrassing me in front of everybody. Yeah. So, anyways, all right. No, honestly, sorry. Yeah, Elon Musk. This is absolutely a fantastic look because not too long ago there was a gap that I was looking to play and a gap fill, and then it's exceeded that. So now trading around $338. This thing is up over 10% in the past couple of days. So really good look there on CRM. And I mean, I missed out on this train ride here. So I'm really glad that you got a big part of that. Elon Musk. He changed his name now. It's Elon Musk now. So yeah, I'm really glad that you picked that up because I was watching that stock. I got CrowdStrike. But as for Salesforce, you hit a banger there. You hit an absolute home run. If I could hit the dollar club, I would hit that for you plenty of times, 30 times over. So you get the money storm, all right? So good luck there on Elon, and we're going to head over to Adara.
Get it, Adara.
Just be aware here, SAV, we talked about this one being up about 30% on no catalyst. It has about a 34% short float. The stock's not moving much on this, but it's worth noting I'm seeing this circulate around social media, given especially the amount that the stock is up. Apparently, the company here announced via a statement that one of its flights to Port-au-Prince, Haiti, was diverted to Santiago, Dominican Republic due to the fact that the aircraft apparently presented with damage consistent with gunfire. Apparently, one flight attendant was injured, but no guests were injured. So keep an eye on SAVE, just due to the fact that this one has been on mines with no catalyst to the upside. Here's a potential catalyst to the downside, guys.
Get down. No, get up. All right, Joe, we're long Google now. Where are we long? We're long 92s. I just wet my beak there through 80s, wet my beak again at 5s. Now I'm setting something up for 8s or 10s up here for this level test, GOOGL. The reason I got long here, despite the fact that I waxed poetic about it earlier, was because we didn't take out that level on the future. I looked to Obi while Adara was dropping hot lines, and I said, oh, look, we got this area at 10:05 a.m. It's a local area trough. We're right there right now. This was the area when I mentioned it to but look at this. We take it out decisively on the NQ. So I said, this is my cue. We took out the level quite decisively. Get long goggles. You like that VWAP hold. So I'm long, and we're looking to print a little bit here, but it's zigging and zagging. I'm looking for something at around 180.10. Back into 180 we go. So I'm trying to pack my patience here. The future's still moving up. Like, we've done a good recovery here, I would say, off below at 21,090. Essentially, it's a 21,100 hold, okay? We broke it by 1 3/4 points. So hopefully we continue to ascend to the high side. Microsoft, though, this was the best of the bunch, guys. And I didn't execute on this. I called it out. I didn't execute. The double bottom with the neckline break at 419. Here comes a squeeze into 420. Just like we talked about, volume weighted average price incoming. Microsoft at local highs, still well off day high though. Obviously that IB high, that implied balance high, took us into 424.81. We're well below that right now. And if I had to guess, we'll probably zig and zag here, Joe, with resistance at 420. But that's not to be that's to be expected. So Joe's printing up a storm, and bang, we just took out the Google shot again.
Never mind money storm, it's a money shower. Woo! I'm just drenched. And Katina Man's in the dollar club too. We don't even know what to do anymore. It's just raining money now.
It's raining money. Hallelujah.
Let's see what
it's raining money.
When things get hectic, just ask the 8-ball. Will Bitcoin hit 250,000 by the end of January next year?
It's ambitious, Joe.
It is. Let's see. Well,
I like it.
Quarter schmilly, man. Quarter schmilly.
What do you got? You shook it too much.
I did shook it, and now I'm all bubbled out here.
Angry
now,
and stuff like that.
Why not ask Perplexity?
Yeah. By the way,
oh yeah.
Brendo was giving me an interesting Perplexity story today. He was he did a Google search on Google search and ChatGPT, both of which led to nothing. Perplexity, though, gave it to him like that. So it was basically his oven was acting a fool. And so he wanted to know what was going on with his oven, and he did a Google search, found nothing. ChatGPT, no go. Perplexity, instant answer.
Like that, eh?
Instant answer. Yeah. So yeah, there's shop around. By that I'm joking of actually shopping, but test different LLMs. I know I was certainly a lot better for it leaving Gemini behind. That thing is flying piece of you know what. Joe.
You don't like Gemini. Yeah.
No, and I got more beef with it today. So accidentally, I loaded it up. I'm like, all right, it's up on the computer screen. Let me just type in a quick query. Yeah. All right, here it was. This is all I asked it, Joe. I'm like, can a sitting president remove the chair of the SEC? Didn't give no names. Didn't say anything about Donald Trump. Didn't say anything about Gary Gensler. Didn't say anything about that, Katina. Well, according to some areas or some scholars, the answer is no, Katina Man. So I wanted answers. And this thing's like, I don't talk about political figures.
Yeah.
Ask you anything about political figures, bro? I asked you about just powers of the specific office. You can't tell me about that?
Bing was doing that to me too, because I just asked when is the day, and it says, oh, I don't talk about that stuff.
That ain't the move, man. That is just not the move.
See you later. Let's talk some Bitcoin.
Google edits heavy, says Rivian Millionaire. You're not wrong, bro. You're not wrong. Yeah, it's just not impressive for me. Bang again, Joe. We take out goggles through that 15. Where are we long? We're long 92s. Now we're printing 180.20. Let's see if we can take out that HOD at 180.25. Goggles on the way up. Good move today for goggles. It's the second best Mag 7 name on the day, only behind the Cybertruck Tesla. It is up over 1%. Tesla up 8%, so kind of no comparison there. But Tesla is actually breaking through VWAP. So Tesla's taking out a key level right now. Volume weighted average price break and take on TSLA as the market retraces, Joe, back into that volume weighted average price. Still negative, though, on the NQ until we can break above 21,230. We're printing right now 21,190. So not exactly that
that's
far off.
monstrous. Look at that trade. Nice
Good
trade,
one.
man.
Not bad,
Yeah,
not bad, not
that's a
bad.
really good trade there, guys. If we can pull up my chart, I'm just going to tell you why I'm sticking to what's hot. Other things weren't working for me today. AMD was not working, and I'm like, why am I trying to trade this stock when we have IBIT that is absolutely tanking, up 11.8% on the session, and then we have Mara just under 30% on the day, trading $5 higher than where it opened at. So really, really good look there on the crypto plays, especially Bitcoin, because IBIT is just making new highs. And when the IBIT's making new highs, you know the underlying asset, our good friend, Bitcoin, is doing so. I don't know why I took that off my chart, but I want to see what we're trading at now. So are we at 86K, sorry, I should say? Almost 85,787. So 85,787 bucks. It's only a matter of time until I think we hit that 86K. Yeah, so we're gonna wait and see here, guys. I mean, this was a really good trade. I'm glad that I bought in here. And then look at the volume. You know, we're always gonna look at the volume. You can see this big pop-up of this specific resistance zone here. You can see this key level around 4850s. And then boom, look at the break of the level. Look at that volume step in. And what did that do? That just gave me more conviction within the setup to hold. And I took more shares on this setup because I'm like, hey, I do think that we are in absolute price discovery with this underlying asset. And I think that we continue higher and higher and higher. And it's only a matter of time. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. We're all having fun with 85K. But guys, I do truly think that by the end of the year, we see six figures, especially at this pace on Bitcoin. So look for that six-figure play. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on it. But I do think we continue higher and higher. And I do like to listen to some of the CNBC analysts like Tom Lee and Dan Ives, who are just absolute tech bulls. I like the way they think. They're smart analysts. And Tom Lee from Fundstrat says he sees this around at $250,000 within this halving cycle. He had a little bit of a earlier data price target of $250,000 by the end of the year, which it kind of lagged. But I mean, we chopped around for a long time. We accumulated a lot, and now the move that we are seeing can express that accumulation phase, and now we're distributing higher and higher and higher and higher. So I really like that look. Guys, I'm going to say it now. I think by the end of the year, we might see six figures on Bitcoin.
Yeah. I have to agree with that.
Yeah.
I think we do get into six figures. $250,000 though. That I think maybe
it's a push.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a massive push.
Yeah.
But hey, there's nothing wrong with being optimistic.
No, dude. The thing about this is, and the generator of wealth that this is creating for non-institutional people, bro. If you were in Bitcoin and you were able to deal with the volatility, you've gotten like, I don't know what, hundreds of percent, hundreds?
Bro, it's
thousands.
gotta
be thousands.
It's
thousands. Yeah.
It's literally thousands of percent. It's like 10K. From like 17, it's like 10,000%.
And here's the thing. So I told you I was listening. I'm a big fan of Stephen Bartlett, Diary of a CEO. I read his book twice. I think he's great. I think he's obviously very intelligent for his age. So he had a guy on his pod, crypto guy, English like him. And the guy, he brought up a really good point. So aside from, the other aspects of crypto, which are bullish, he was basically saying, he's like, look, man, the internet, who made money, the most money, not was profitable off the launch of the internet. He's like, a lot of the people who made money on there were the billionaires, right? The guys that could make the Amazons and whatever other things the internet helped print billionaires for. And then he went on to say, like, AI, who's really gonna make the tons of money on AI? And again, it's the same guys, the hyperscalers, the ones that are gonna be able to print thousands of percent returns. But he's like, BTC is one of those unique technologies where you actually invest in the actual asset itself, the thing that's actually developing itself. Blockchain technology obviously is the main thing here, but the scarcity of the asset obviously helps in that regard. So he's like, this is one of the first times where you've got like this kind of huge groundbreaking technology that you're actually able to invest in directly, not other aspects of it on the exterior or on the periphery. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Whether you agree with that theory or not, to me, it rang the element of truth.
Well, no, just to add to that point, Sharif, and I touched on this before, it's just the simple aspect of supply and demand, right? So we already know what and I don't know if this is the best analogy or not, but I said, imagine in the Toronto housing market, imagine they're like, okay, we're going to cut the housing builds by half.
Sure.
Right, every 4 years. What is that going to do to the value of the house?
Skyrocket.
So when you have an underlying asset like Bitcoin, when you have the halving cycles, right, and the quantity is scarce, there's only a limited amount of them, and then every 4 years you cut that quantity in half that you can receive from securing the network on the blockchain. Then what's going to happen to the underlying asset?
That's a great point,
and that's
man.
why I said, like, hey, like we're still so early in the cycle. There's 32 halving cycles spanning over 116 years. We're on number 3, right? So I mean, I don't want to speculate too much on this thing, but on the path that it's on, I think the number. I don't even think we can comprehend the number that this thing can potentially go to. So I don't know. But again, Michael, is it only a matter of time until Michael Saylor's one of the richest people on the planet?
Well, apparently we're the future poor.
Yes, yeah.
If you hold fiat currency, according to Michael Saylor, you're the future poor.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. This thing, the sky is the limit. We don't know the true. I mean, and there's no really, other than the ledger and the blockchain, like you said, Sharif. There's no, what is the use case of Bitcoin? We've yet to really determine that. There's no specific, okay, yeah, Donald Trump bought a slice of pizza, but who wants to give up their Bitcoin for a slice of pizza? I don't know, not me necessarily, even though Buddy gave up 10K Bitcoin for the order kid pizza for his
You don't
kids
usually
and stuff.
sell your gold though at point of sale either.
No,
you know what I mean?
Is it like, so what are you gonna do? Barter your, like, is it becoming like a barter system? You know what I mean? So
And can I say one other thing too?
Yeah, for sure.
I read a really interesting article on the weekend that the U.S. Treasury Department could start holding crypto as an asset now. Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what other ones.
Why wouldn't they? Like, why wouldn't they? Who
And
cares?
that's the thing. Can you imagine central banks and Treasury departments start buying up this thing?
Bro,
Again, we're just speculating.
Yeah,
that's
total
all we're doing
speculation.
right now. We're talking
But don't
out loud.
you think it's only a matter of time until that happens? Until it's
Hard to
on the
say,
balance sheet?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's only a matter of time, especially the way things are going. It's, yeah, we feel ROMO and FOMO and whatever it is. So how do you think that they're feeling, these people that are just printing? Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So
And they were saying, like, a lot of these fund managers, Joe, they're going to watch that 100,000 break and take, and they're going to be like, they're going to be pulling out their hair. They're going to be trying to keep their jobs because, well, they weren't in.
They didn't have it.
And so they're saying there's going to be a funneling in at 100,000. It's going to be like a squeeze. Again, all speculative, but you know that's all that's what the market is in general, right? We're trying to put odds on our side and speculate with facts.
I mean, with IBIT and the ETFs coming in well too, it's just adding more security to something that was like, hey, I don't know how secure Bitcoin is. Yeah, it's 2 o'clock.
It's 2 o'clock.
We're done, man.
Ram's very
hey,
upset that we're
thank
talking
you.
still. Guys, I just want to mention before I send it to the Katina man and the Obe, here's the one, Kanob. GOVX breaking out, guys. This is one that we've seen before. GovX breaking out right here, midday. It's a midday small cap gapper. We know how these midday small cap gappers go when the volume starts kicking in midday. Keep your eye out on this one. 58% already, squeezing, good look. All right, time to send it to the big kahunas.
Midday madness with the boys, the Bash Bros.
See you,
Good.
same bad time, same bad channel. Get it, guys.
Thank you.
All right.
Yo, what's happening?
Yeah, I mean, we've still got the long IBIT. We've got short now, the TQs. We've been putting that in the chat for just a quick minute here. But thanks everybody for coming back.